Checking.
Yeah.
All right. Says we're live.
We're live?
Yay.
We're live. We've been live. Hello.
We've been live.
We've been live.
Live.
And I have real exciting news for you, Internet. Because I
Breaking
understand how the media and Internet and the lemming world works. I will disclose this entire podcast is completely AI based.
Yeah.
AI meaning I don't even know what it means, frankly. I mean, it's some kind of fancy math, neurons, and whatever pan networks. What I'm really doing is I am trying to get the people to notice us because AI. If you just say AI multiple times,
especially at the beginning of a YouTube video,
one thing you get investors like, huh? They come out of their hole, huh? What? Oh. Millions of dollars. Well, I'll throw millions of dollars for you because it's AI. AI. Like, if it's a Wendy's. Like, yeah, I swear to God, the whole Wendy's AI thing, that was just to get investors excited about, right? That was the whole thing about just to get people excited about Wendy's and AI. Well, let me tell you, this podcast is all AI because we want your money. So investors show up, the mainstream press shows up because they don't know what it means from their hole in the butt, right? They just don't know. So it's AI driven, give us money
and the algorithm. The algorithm, YouTube hears
Google,
us saying
YouTube,
AI right now, so it's going to push full nerd.
AI. So AI.
It's the hot new thing.
AI.
Anyway, hi, Gordon.
Hey, what's going on?
Hi, Brad.
Brad AI.
Brad AI. I thought it was Bard AI. No.
That's the inferior version.
See, I've always said I don't have intelligence. I just try to look smart, so I have artificial intelligence. So
that's my favorite part about being a journalist. I just get to ask smart people questions, right? What they say.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, everybody. We got all the cool friends of the friends of the show here: Escamonster, Retro Sean,
all the nerds in the house.
Davina. Yeah. Hello, all you. David Richards with the classic ASL Escamonster, Dark Helmet, who's live with us. Glad you could join us. Man, we got some fun stuff to talk about. You know, every week I feel like, unless there's like major news, every week I'm like, there's not that much news. And then all of a sudden we get to the show and we're like, okay, actually we do end up having some good stuff.
There's always something to talk about.
There's always something to talk about. And VC, a friend of the show, VC Jester, says Brad needs to break out his Max Headroom impersonation. Because he's on the screen. Yeah, that would be funny. Also, we got a super chat.
We need to do a Halloween stream. I'll do that for a Halloween stream if it ever ends up on the 31st.
Yeah, put the fake background with the stripes. Anyway, even before we went live, like half an hour before we went live, we got a $4.99 super chat from friend of the show, Joseph Fruski. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Said, Gordon, as a Star Trek fan, please share your thoughts on season 3 of Picard.
Well, I don't actually pay for it. So I've only seen snippets on YouTube, but I feel like I've seen, because people only post the best parts. It's really, and I was actually talking to a long time, person reader from Maximum PC. We've been corresponding for a long time, and he wondered as well, Donald Benson. Hey Donald, and he wanted to know my thoughts too, and I'll say the same thing. It was good to see Enterprise D back in option. No spoilers, although that is a spoiler. So, sorry,
spoilers.
Whatever.
Spoilers.
Actually, well, no, come on. I mean, it's Star Trek, so there's going to be an Enterprise.
Yeah, there's always.
Has there ever been a Star Trek without an Enterprise? Well, no, I guess
you
Deep
could
Space Nine.
argue the original show Enterprise did not have Enterprise because it didn't have entertainment, story, or Enterprise.
Well, did the Enterprise ever show?
Oh, sorry, Enterprise fan, that I've offended you, and I say fan because fan, like. That's what the Next Generation. No, that's what the motion picture movie fans can say. Oh, at least there's 7 of us that like the motion picture. It could be it because it could be Enterprise.
I mean, I've seen the motion picture many times. I've never watched Enterprise.
The worst thing about, we're going to get on last Star Trek nerddom here.
Oh, okay.
Like
please.
The worst thing is like, damn, you screwed up so badly.
Oh.
You had to bench everybody. And you had to call in some vets, like you had to bring in like the veterans from Next Generation in on wheelchairs, just so they could close out that series in a way like maybe somebody will care. That's when you messed up.
That's pretty funny.
That's when you blew it. That's proof.
Also, chat saying Voyager. I guess Voyager didn't have an Enterprise in it.
Didn't have an Enterprise in it. Did they ever?
Because
Huh.
Deep Space Nine did an Enterprise. I feel like there was an episode where an Enterprise showed up at Deep Space Nine. No.
Yeah, they had the Enterprise in the original episode because they dropped off because Cisco. It was a crossover episode, and hey, I'm
Okay.
hitching a ride. Starfleet doesn't have Uber, so let's just dispatch the flagship of the fleet to drive you here and drop you off. I mean, think of the money the government is wasting there, but hey, whatever. Federation. And then there was in Deep Space Nine, they had there actually was a really good Enterprise crossover episode. Now, I'm not saying all of them were bad, but the bulk of them were not great. But they had a fantastic crossover Enterprise episode with the Tholians and the original Constitution class. See, now we've lost everybody.
And Davina says it's space communism. The show.
Well, we prefer space piracy because you go and you get your tea hot. There's like nobody going, oh, well, somebody owns the intellectual property on that. You can copy anything you want in the replicator. if you
you're
think about
right.
it.
You'd be
Right.
like, hey, a replicator.
Intel 13th Gen 13900K, hot, right? And then
Oh, it's
it comes
coming in
up.
hot. It's coming in hot.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty funny. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to work on about the Asus ROG. ROG.
it is not ROG.
It's ROG.
It is not
Rog.
Roj.
You know what? We're gonna have to pitch.
Raj.
I mean, right now, I guess probably they don't want to be pitched anything. How about like Raj?
No.
Hey, Raj.
Hey, Raj.
Raj.
It's the
like,
Asus Raj.
Did you think everybody would be like, what?
The Raj
I don't
Ally.
understand. Raj.
Raj.
You know,
No.
yeah, that was like, that's
No.
just such an American. Asus Ally versus Steam Deck.
You just said Ali.
What the hell is it?
It's the ally. Ali has an E. That's funny. You were talking about mispronouncing Raj, and then he said
Just
Is
like
that a
when you-
real
Ally.
word? Is that made up?
ally.
Ally, like
Ally.
a companion to your main
Yeah.
PC.
Yeah.
Like it's your ally.
Because
Yeah,
I
it's your buddy,
is
your
it?
ally.
I'm just
Yeah.
that's because I'm so
It's
used.
the opposite of your
You
foe.
have no allies in World of Warship?
Well, ally, I thought it was ALIE, 2 L's. No wait, right.
Well, I think you
No,
it
that's
can do
only
both.
that's only the multiple. Like allies is IE.
Allies.
But ally by
Jesus.
itself. is a
Singular ally. I
Singular
only
ally,
have
yeah.
one of
The
the
one.
Roj alley.
Willis, I can't waste any more time because Brad's got it. He's on a hard
Yes,
deadline.
Yes.
But man, this reminds me of like the English language is just such a like such a 180-year-old building that's just like patched up and like somebody put some, like there was stucco and then they put some wood paneling over that and then they put some fake Z brick over that and like everything's just like who the hell even why do you have 2 words like that? They should just take the dictionary and just compress it and kick out all the words that nobody even understands.
We'll have a
Like, do
literature
we really
scholar
need
in
to have
next time.
3 twos?
we need Elena back for this.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Oh, they're the ones that get angry about it.
Yeah.
Those copy ass people. The people that have basically the glasses on chains kind of people. Like, you know what I mean?
I had a wallet on a chain. Does that count?
Yeah, but not glasses on the chain. That's a copy ass. And they were cut in half because then they can look over you because you're a dumbass. Like, you don't even know. Ally?
Judging.
Wait, you mean cut in half the ones that separate in the middle like this? Like you separate?
Yeah,
Oh man, yeah, those are serious.
Yeah, because it's on the, and then it's only like that so they can look over you because they have to look over there like, what the? How did you get here?
Yeah, speaking of how did we get here, we are way off the rails already.
Yeah.
We should start the show.
We're gonna let's kick it off. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm in the wrong place.
No, you're here. You're here at
Yeah,
Full
you're
Nerd.
good.
It's the right place.
I didn't have the correct highlighter.
You're
because I
here
have
as
some notes
well.
here.
Thank you.
Ready?
Thank you for joining
257.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Oh, go.
Yep.
Okay,
Go.
I was expecting kind of a signal. That's how professional we are.
Like
We don't
that.
have a red light.
And go.
Go.
In this episode of the Full Nerd, Asus ROG Ally versus Steam Deck, latest on AM5 motherboard melodrama, and Intel's secret microcode. Not really. Welcome to episode 257 of the Full Nerd. I'm your host, Gordon Ma Ung, that I can't pronounce my name on, with co-host Brad Charkis.
Hello, Internet.
And Adam Patrick Murray sitting to my left.
You're messing up all sorts of pronunciations today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. That's okay.
And Willis Lai controlling the vertical and horizontal. I figured I needed some liquid.
Ouch.
Long
That
pause.
hurt.
Long
Hello, everyone.
pause.
Long pause. Like,
I thought maybe
forget
I just
Willis.
needed more coffee.
No one needs to control the horizontal vertical. Thank you, Gordon.
This is my third cup of coffee in 2 months.
Oh,
Well, my
it's-
hands are
That explains
so
why
steady.
you're messing everything
Yeah,
up.
it's hitting you weird. Hitting you
It's
weird
kinda nice.
for sure.
It's very nice. But we got a lot of exciting things for you.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm super excited for, but don't really want to pay for because I don't care about them, but Adam loves, is the Asus ROG Asus Ally. Why the hell do I have this in there twice in my notes? Asus ROG Ally.
Yes. You know, and speaking of hitting people weird, so I finally had some time. Like I got it late Tuesday. Embargo was Thursday, so I didn't have time to do a review video or anything like that. So actually, Willis and I came in. We did a live stream. It was a good time. Go back and watch it. We just kind of messed around with it. I brought in other handheld devices to kind of compare and contrast, you know, and do a little bit of performance testing on. So now I definitely have more thoughts. And even we kind of ended that stream talking about which one am I going to bring to Computex,
Yeah.
and I kind of have an answer to that one.
Ooh.
Before that, I do want to say for all the people, thank you who tuned into that. I was surprised so many people actually did tune into it because it was a good time. I was having a performance problem loading games and downloading games, and you know what it was? It was the SD card. The SD card that I bought was bad.
Oh.
Because I was like, man, this doesn't make sense. The internet's fine. What the hell? It should be installing quicker than this. So I was like, okay, wait, actually, let me try installing on the internal drive. It worked perfectly.
Oh.
I put in a different SD card, worked perfectly. So there were problems during that stream from like loading a game or whatever, because it was like, why is this taking forever? And I looked and yeah, the SD card was bad. So
Was it just one of those you got off Amazon?
I just got off Amazon.
Yeah,
so
it's probably.
I just bought another one.
No, I mean, I'm just wondering if it's, you know, a lot of the SD cards and micro SD cards you get on Amazon, there's a ton of counterfeits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it was a counterfeit. It just like wasn't performing right. And actually, somebody in that stream, I believe it was in the stream or maybe in the comments afterward, was asking, "Oh, hey, this has UHS-2 support. Are you going to do any testing with the UHS-2 drive?" And I did bought an Angelbird one from B&H Photo, UHS-2 micro SD card that I'm going to try loading on here. And according to Asus's marketing claims, the UHS loading a game and running it off of a UHS-2 drive is actually quicker than the internal SSD. So
Huh.
Wow.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because
I
that's
have
not.
no idea.
So is it a NVMe drive inside of it or?
It is, yeah, 2230.
Wow.
So
okay.
you know the smaller one, but yeah, and I can't remember. We did open it up. Do you remember the main? It was Micron. It was a Micron drive.
Really, I'm
Yeah.
just shocked that a UHS-2 SD card is faster.
Supposedly, according to their testing, I don't have it. I haven't tested it yet. So,
'Cause
anyway.
I mean, they're decent out of a digital camera. I would be interested because most digital cameras that I've looked at, they are engineered to anticipate people buying the cheapest POS SD card, so they put giant buffers in.
Hmm.
So the read and write performance out of SD cards is generally pretty horrible. So because this is based on a computer, I would assume it would be better, but it's also just commodity card reader. So, but maybe they just put like a really, really high end.
Yeah. I don't know.
Card reader in too. So
Anyway, it's been fun. You know, I'm gonna use this time as like a informal review, kind of talking about things. Some things I talk about in the stream. Some things I like about it. Some things I don't like about it.
you got to take it out of the box.
Oh yeah, take it out of the box. You know, I've been playing around with it, but it's just it's interesting. There are definitely things that I don't like about it, and there are definitely things that I really do like about it. And it ranges from the actual hardware to performance to battery life to user experience. Like it's kind of like all over the board. I mean, I think generally, like Steam has done a great job with the Steam Deck, and that's what makes it so awesome. Is that like you can just load it up, and you don't have to be super computer savvy to just run it. It's more like a console, like on the spectrum of things, right? There's PC and console. The Steam Deck is definitely closer to a console than the Ally is. But there's definitely more you can do with the Ally because it's Windows. I was running Game Pass games on there. I was running Epic Games on there, which is awesome. It's got the XG Mobile port. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten the XG Mobile really to work reliably. So like, there's definitely things I like about it and things that I don't like about it. which brings me to which one am I bringing to Computex? I'm bringing the Steam Deck Computex.
Really?
Yeah, number one, the battery life is more predictable for me. And part of it is because I've this has been out for a year. I've used this thing constantly, so it's easy for me to understand just roughly like, okay, what kind of game, what the battery life is going to be like, but the Ally like is all across the board, and especially at first I was like, oh wow, you've got this turbo mode, you can juice it to 30 watts, and just like go whole hog. If you're plugged in using the I don't have the charger, the 65 watt charger, it actually boosts to 35 watts.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? So like you can really juice the hell out of this, but battery life is like woo. So it's like, okay. So I would probably run it in. So then I was like, okay, when I'm not plugged in, let me try 15 watts, which is what the Steam Deck tops out at, and one-to-one comparisons there. Some games actually ran longer on the ROG, but most of the time the Steam Deck is more optimized, and like I can get a little bit better battery life out of it. Yeah, it's just like, it's just a comfort thing, I think. Like there's enough here where I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be sitting and like having to futz with stuff on the plane, I'd rather just be playing a game, and the Steam Deck is definitely the way to go for that.
By optimization, though, I mean, because if you're playing a game and one is giving you better graphics and higher frame rates, it's probably going to chew up the battery more. So, well,
that's the thing. Yeah, it's like, and I always said this at first. It's like, it's cool that this has 120 hertz option, but I was using it on battery, like because I was playing Call of Duty. I mean, I had to bump the settings down, but I was getting like, between 70 and 90, which was really cool to have. But yeah,
that's awesome to have in your hands.
Yeah, but that thing, the battery was like, oh, it's gonna last like an hour maybe.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm on the plane. I'm gonna maximize battery life. And I know that, and actually a lot of the reviews that have come out there from like YouTube channels that I like Retro Game Core and ETA Prime and stuff like that, at the lower wattages, the Steam Deck is definitely still actually performing better than the Ally at the lower wattages. Like, and this can actually get down to 8 watts, where I think the lowest on the Ally is like, God, what is it, 10 or something like that?
Right.
So like,
they've just had when you're out for a year, you have a lot of time to sort of tune it for.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, is that really an issue on a plane anymore, though? I mean, the last time I haven't had power, like even the cheapest planes have power.
Well, but this is a weird thing. So I thought that too, because I was like, oh, okay, you know what? Usually the way I play this is I'm on the couch. We only have one TV in the living room, so Lindsay, my wife, is watching something on the TV. I'm on the couch with her. I want to play a game, so that's kind of how we are. So battery life, even on the Steam Deck, if I push it hard, it's like a couple hours. Which is fine for an evening. Excuse me. But I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I want to play in 120 hertz. I'm right next to a plug. Let me just plug it in, get that 35 watts. And actually, even under 35 watts, this thing's way quieter than the Steam Deck. Like,
really?
Yeah, the cooling solution is definitely something I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Huh.
But the weird thing, and I've seen other people say this too, and I'm not quite sure why, if you're plugged in and you're on that turbo mode and it's 65 watt charger, it still depletes the battery. And I'm not quite sure why. I don't know if that's something hopefully they can fix in firmware or something like that.
You
but
mean
like
the battery still dies?
The battery is still depleting.
Yeah, because they're taking, so like if you have 65 watts coming in and the thing is going to consume 35 watts.
Yeah.
You still have to service. So basically you have 35 watts, and there's other stuff that 35 watts for the APU, right?
Yes. Well, up to.
So you have the screen, you have the storage, you have the chipset. There's a lot of other, and the memory. You're probably only getting. I mean, you sort of see that on some laptops. Like I remember the XPS 17, XPS 15, 17 definitely. Where
one of the Surfaces did that too.
Yeah, they just decide like, look, if you want more performance, we could giving you a bigger charger, but that's more weight. So we're gonna basically eat into the battery life a little bit. So,
why I was like, okay, well then I'll take this on the plane, because then I can probably be on the wall. But then like if it's still depleting the battery, and I'm not going to get that full experience anyway, and I'm going to cap it at like 60 FPS, and at that point, like the strength.
Just use the Steam Deck.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? So it's trade-offs everywhere. Like, and I'm not saying this won't get to a better place. Hopefully they're working on it, and,
right,
and they will. But like the Steam Deck is just a known quantity.
Yeah.
And it's just so reliable, so straightforward, and actually it works better in airplane mode as well. Especially with like Steam offline mode and stuff like that. They've baked in also standby. Like I've had problems with this where like, because the standby here is just so you just hit the button and it's standby. I'll turn it back on, keep playing. I've had problems trying to wake this thing from standby and like immediately or during a game, right? Like, I feel like it's not reliable that way. Also in standby, the lighting rings will like occasionally light up for some reason when it's and it's just like, wait, why is that? It's not supposed to be on.
I mean, that's the advantage of having, an OS designed specifically to be a gaming OS, especially for that device.
Yeah.
I mean, and this has always been the problem with vendors that build around Windows, because for people who don't know, it's based on Windows.
Yep.
You have a general purpose operating system. They don't get to go, oh, we need to fix this. Let's just recompile this in the operating system to fix. Like, Valve can do that because they own the OS. They can't really do that because they have to throw the ball over the wall to Microsoft. Microsoft has to fix it, and depending on what's going on.
Once again, it's a strength and a weakness, though, because here, I mean, it's Windows. I can do whatever the hell I want. I mean, I load MSI Afterburner,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like all these things where it's like, because people in the chat during the stream was like, well, can you do this? I'm like, you can do whatever the hell you want. It's Windows. It's literally just Windows. Like,
right.
So that was actually going to be my biggest question, more than the hardware itself. How is the experience like of using a Windows-based handheld? How does that compare against the purpose-built Steam Deck?
So, I mean, I've had two other devices, Ionero Air Pro and a AOK Zoe A1 non-Pro. The Pro just got announced. Both of them have run Windows 11 specifically, and it's fine. Like the way that I like to have it is that when Windows launches, I just have it go into Steam Big Picture mode, and at that point, it's just kind of like a Steam Deck, and if I need to go out and start Afterburner or do updates, I'm doing everything on a touchscreen. And surprisingly, even though the scaling is so small, I'm surprised. I'm like, oh man, it's not going to detect. Oh, well, okay, detect where I wanted to hit. So like it was better than I expected, actually. And especially in I have Windows in kind of what is it, like treating the dock as tablet mode. So you kind of swipe up from the bottom and it has like a different kind of bar. So yeah, I've had no problems with that. I'll say, I mean, not specific Windows problems with this, but sometimes when I'm in Steam Big Picture mode, the actual like inputs won't register for the Ally. But I don't think that's a Windows thing. I think that's more of an Ally thing that needs to get ironed out. I've heard other reviews have that problem too. So some of it I think just needs longer in the oven. Some of it I think just needs a little more work with Microsoft. Actually, we did get a super chat. Was this from Steven Provenzano? Thank you, $5. Said, out of all the creators covering the ROG Ally, no one has tested using a Hollow OS. Do you plan on testing with this? I have not. I mean, I guess I can try loading it on. I mean, some people have talked about like, okay, can you use the Steam OS on this thing? So I mean, you can do whatever the hell you want with it because it's a computer. And then somebody else was asking, it's over on Discord. Friend of the show, Liquidar, said, in light of the popularity of the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, should Microsoft rethink Windows as an OS for gaming and provide a leaner version that is built for gaming in mind, but still capable of general computing tests? Something that leaves out much of the old legacy cruft of Windows. Maybe it should as something in between full Windows OS and Xbox OS. And I don't know. What do you think? I mean, because I do like the idea that, especially with an XG Mobile attached and like a 4090 laptop GPU, I mean, this thing can edit video probably damn fine. Like it's a laptop at that point. So I don't know. Like I can't tell for me, because I know some people are like, oh, this is awesome. It's a desktop. I plug it into a desktop and go. Even like some people have edited videos on Steam Deck and stuff like that. For me, I just use it as a gaming device. So I would be okay if Microsoft would be like, hey, here's a leaner version of Windows that's more like a console. I don't know. What do you guys think?
In the lead up to the ROG Ally's release, there was actually a leak of an internal Microsoft like jam like they were doing. And it's for a Windows handheld gaming mode where it does, handle sleep better and boots into a big picture kind of format and stuff like that. So I think that's very much on Microsoft's mind too, because I think the Steam Deck is making waves.
Right? Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean, once again, like I don't. Out of all the problems that I've had on here, it doesn't feel like it's a Windows thing. It's like more like a driver thing or a compatibility thing. Like I said, those other devices that I've used Windows on, it's been a super easy experience. So I don't think it's necessary, and I like the idea of having it open. But at the same time, I bet there's an even better feature out there. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm curious.
I don't
I
think
think that. Go ahead.
Well, I just
Go
don't
ahead.
think. I mean, Microsoft has made definitely special versions of the OSs, ATMs, get them and that kind of stuff. But I don't know if they really want to fork their OS too much, because that means more development. You have you end up basically with Android sometimes where it's a complete disaster. And I definitely think they want to keep things as same as possible, because it'd be a bummer if you couldn't get the same gaming experience from a handheld to your laptop.
Yeah,
So-
right. I mean that is the strength, right? Yeah.
So
I
I
mean,
c-
and even Willis said on stream, he's like, out of the two, he likes the idea of being able to play Game Pass and Epic Games, because his libraries, my Steam library is ginormous, but his isn't.
I have
So like,
multiple,
Yeah.
It's Game Pass, Epic Game Store, Steam. What else? If it plays EA, or Ubisoft,
right? And then let's like on the Ally, you've got it all on the Steam Deck. I mean, there are ways to get there, but they're not always perfect. It's
Right.
not the best experience. So
But maybe making it modular, so you basically sort of have a cut down version, so it's a lighter footprint.
well, isn't
But
there already
it's-
a light version of Windows? Didn't they release like a
I don't-
Slim or
It
an
was
L or
Yeah, S.
S.
It's called S.
Yeah,
and it
and
only
that-
runs Windows Store apps.
Yeah, and that was an attempt to try to push everybody towards more of a tablet kind of phone future, and it went over like I don't know, like a I don't know, like you trying to swim with some cinder blocks tied to your legs. I do think though, because I kind of think you make it modular, so maybe it loads in the other portions as you need it, but ultimately I think the thing is you can't really make it heavily optimized for gaming without disturbing the general purpose of
Yeah.
the operating system. I mean, that is just one of the awesome things about Windows is it runs everywhere, right? I mean, it still actually generally does.
well,
And then you have to also consider, what about Windows 10 compatibility? There's just a lot. I mean, again,
which I've never tried to load Windows 10 on any of these devices. They've all come with Windows 11, so I've never tried that. But
Right.
yeah.
yeah,
I love the idea of purpose-built version of Windows, because I think handhelds are probably going to be here to stay, especially if the Steam Deck keeps it up. And to me, they could either leave it up to the device maker, or even the first time you boot into the device, say, "Hey, do you want standard Windows interface, or do you want the small screen optimized gaming Windows interface?" You pick. Like AMD does something like that for their drivers, and then whenever you're installing them, you just choose whichever one works for you.
I could also see them starting with, hey, you know what? Because right now Steam has big picture mode. The ROG Ally actually loads into Armory Crate, which I don't like that interface. It definitely needs some work. But like I could see Windows being like, hey, you know what? Okay, if you're on a handheld, we'll at least give you a custom front end if you want it. So I mean, almost kind of like Windows 8, right, where it would boot into like a laptop mode. If you wanted to get to the desktop, you can get into the desktop and have everything you want. But hey, this custom front end is probably where they're going to start.
yeah.
So that you load in and it's like a custom front end. Where do you want to go, kind of thing. I mean, I don't know if they would be successful with it, but
I just think it's not. It's the UI isn't really the issue. It's the problem of having to honor decades of compatibility, and that is
true.
You look at.
Well, I mean, the UI is definitely part of it, though.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest part of it, though.
Yeah.
But when you want to we're gonna break off some DirectX 7 game or some weird ass thing that somebody wants to run, it gets really rough, because Microsoft's biggest problem has been leaving legacy behind, because that means leaving people behind, and people like Elena trying to service that I don't know, $22 CPU is to gonna scream about it, and those people get angry. And
I think there's a way that they could make a more handheld optimized version of Windows. The interface is the important part, while still including all those things in the back end.
yeah,
I mean, well, here's the other thing: could they just release the Steam or the Xbox OS, or would that make it too public so that people can crack into it?
I doubt they would do that.
Okay.
yeah. I don't think they would release it, but I could see Microsoft actually doing a portable Xbox. right? Why not do, because
I mean, probably not. I don't think there's enough margin there.
What I want to see is Valve make SteamOS available to other manufacturers as well. That's
they said they
something
have.
real interesting.
Yeah,
You've been able to install SteamOS on your desktop forever now, but that one it's kind of gotten neglected a bit while they've been focusing on the version for the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
I want to see that. They'd be like, yeah, Asus, you can use SteamOS for free if you'd like. It's based on Linux. It's open source. Take that if you want it.
Or hey, if you get it and you want to put it on it yourself, or like dual boot or something like that. Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see that. So, Anyway, for the Ally specifically, I think it's awesome. I don't think it's a home run, knock out of the park. Like, oh yeah, you should totally get this over the Steam Deck. Like, the pricing is good. It's got cool features that the Steam Deck doesn't have. But it also falls short in a lot of ways that the Steam Deck doesn't. I mean, it's been out for a year, right? I mean, it's in Steam and Valve. It's they're working together, or it's one company, kind of thing. So
I don't know. I really see us. I'd put money on it that they're going to do a portable Xbox. Right.
I mean, there's been rumors for years and years and years.
Yeah, but now
I just want an Xbox laptop. Xbox like to go with the Surface laptop. No, I want a gaming focused Surface Xbox laptop.
I think laptops are always going to be general purpose.
Mhm.
So anytime you have a keyboard, you have to have a full Surface OS. But this is a 100% gaming form factor. This is going to bring prices down to where they can actually build a portable Xbox really, really cheap. Right.
I think if we ever see that, it'll be a cloud one, like the new Razer one that just came out or got
or the
announced
Logitech one. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, Leia. Anyway. Yeah. So, was there any specific questions? Sorry, I've been neglecting the chat. Willis, any specific questions on the Ally?
No. Let's see.
While you're hunting around,
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
So the one thing that stood out to me about the ROG Ally is that it doesn't have the little I don't even know what they're called, the squares. Yeah, the trackpad.
Doesn't have one.
The trackpad.
Right? It has
No,
one.
it doesn't have any.
Oh.
Yeah. So does that make a big difference for you in the games that you play day to day so far? I can see where it'd make a difference if you're playing RTS games or something, but the way that you play these, have you noticed that being a pro or a con or?
Yeah, so I talked about this on the stream last week because somebody else had that question too. For me, no. And actually, I prefer them. I'm okay with them not being there. I actually kind of prefer it in some ways. And I'll say why is because I don't use the trackpads that much. It's mostly like a menu navigation thing or maybe like a keyboard kind of thing. So like if a game only has trackpad support, like, I mean, I've done some of those games, but it's just, those kind of games. Well, I mean, it is, but those kind of games just aren't, like an RTS, I don't want to play on this handheld anyway. So, yes, technically you can do it and they've made it an experience you could do, but also that doesn't mean I want to do it, if that makes sense. If anything, I actually, the thing that I would actually prefer it on the other handhelds like the Ally, without the trackpad, the way they have the button layout is that like it's like buttons and stick, like it's side by side, where this is more like a traditional controller, right, where you've got it's stacked. So ergonomically, I actually prefer it without the trackpads. I think it's more comfy to do it that way. Not that the Steam Deck is not ergonomic. They've done a lot of thinking on that, but like I kind of have to reach in a specific way, and it feels different than a normal thing. So I'm actually okay with leaving off the trackpads. And if there's something I need to do on screen, the touchscreen has been completely fine. So,
what games are you playing on this? I just kind of wondering.
I mean, I have my like testing suite kind of thing, but I, like for handheld portable stuff, like the stuff that I like is like RTS turn-based tactics games. That kind of stuff has been like amazing. I mean, I did a whole video on turn-based tactics, RPGs. Once again, not Twitch kind of stuff. I have done FPS. Like I've actually started to do testing on an FPS version of my Steam Deck videos, and it's surprisingly comparable. Metroidvania games, so like all the kind of genres that I like are actually completely fine on portable play. So
since you mentioned XCOM, which is also one of my favorite tactic games, Adam, Stars.
Oh wait, real quick, there's a new one out called Showgunners.
Ooh.
It's like, so imagine what is that Rollerball. Do you remember that with like where it was like that futuristic game and they've got the gloves and that
Yeah, I think so.
what's that guy Robert? No, who's the lead? Kane. No, anyway, can't remember his name. Anyway, it's imagine XCOM / Rollerball, like a post-apocalyptic game kind of thing where there's like an announcer and like everyone's fighting to the death kind of thing. It's actually really good. I mean, it's not amazing. It's not breaking the formula, but if you like XCOM games, check out Showgunner. Anyway,
All right, so I got a couple questions from the chat. So Starscream is asked, so how about XCOM games, referring to the joysticks versus trackpads in gameplay usage?
Yeah, so I did a whole video on turn-based tactics games for the Steam Deck, and yeah, some of them worked fine, some of them didn't, and it came down to the controls for the most part, if it was like well suited for a controller or not. If it was well suited for a controller to begin with, it works fine on the Ally. There are some games, I can't remember exactly, it's been almost a year since I did that video. Some games like needed to have the trackpad because it didn't have full controller support. I can't think of any off the top of my head. But no, I mean, I think it's completely well suited for that. I mean, especially because it's like, if I really want to save battery life, like, setting a turn-based tactics games to 30 FPS, like whatever, I don't need high frame rate for a tactical game like that. So like that for me, like that's awesome. So
right.
I think it's a good fit.
Cool. And okay, so from Haas Sam, how about, well, since you got Ally,
James Caan, thank you.
Yeah. How about the usage of a portable as a Windows device? Like, have you used it as a Windows device?
I mean, yes. Like I've installed all the usual stuff, like my password manager, all the different applications to run games on. I've even checked like YouTube comments. I've watched YouTube on this thing, and done it all through the touchscreen. Actually, somebody was asking during our stream last week, oh, hey, wouldn't it be easier if you just plugged in a mouse into this to navigate? And I actually kind of wanted to do it all on the touchscreen to see, like, could I do everything I wanted to do? I've even configured Afterburner with just the touchscreen, and sure, it took a minute to kind of fiddle around, but I mean, I did it. It was not like bad.
You switched into tablet mode.
So the dock, there's a tablet mode for the dock,
right.
but it's not like the whole OS is like tablet mode or anything.
Right,
like that.
But I mean, Windows 11 has a built-in tablet mode. Did you try that?
Oh, actually, I didn't even know that. Unless it's the same thing I'm thinking of, but like you can change the dock to go to like tablet mode dock. But I didn't know there was a.
Yeah,
is it different?
It's different. It makes it touch friendly. It makes foreground windows larger. I've used it on Windows 10. But thanks to Windows 11, I don't even know how to get to it anymore.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was there. So.
Typically, that's one of my favorite form factor is convertibles. So I like 360 convertibles. Typically, if you convert it into a tablet, it'll automatically switch into tablet mode. But I have it turned off right now. So
I guess I can try it out. I mean, once again, like just running Windows like normal with the touchscreen, like yeah, it takes a little bit longer and it's easier to do with the mouse, but it hasn't been a horrible experience. So, and once again, when I'm just gaming, I go into Steam Big Picture mode, or if I'm running a Steam game and just play like normal. Oh yeah,
just a few, just a few more. $2.20 Canadian dollars from Skeet Sayer. Thank you so much. I would actually love a portable PS5.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
dude, I brought Vita, I brought my Vita on the stream. I had a PSP. Like I'm a handheld pervert, and I would take the more handhelds out there, the better.
And honestly, I could see it happening, right? Because Sony has got to be looking at like, wow, Valve has done this, and of course, Sony did Vita for a while. I mean the
PSP and yeah,
and they've
It was bigger in Japan than here in the States because commute is definitely more of a thing over there. So.
Right, but I mean, doesn't it? Because what was so awesome about PS5 and Xbox, sorta, is commoditized hardware. They didn't do all the heavy lifting development. They could basically ring up AMD or frankly Intel at this point and say, we want a customized design for our handheld, and they could do it now. And it's going to be a lot cheaper than doing a complete ground up design. So I could see them doing it. And they definitely would love to give Nintendo a black eye, and certainly don't want to let Valve turn into the juggernaut that it has on PC, right? So why not do it? To me, it'd be crazy not to do an x86, based handheld at this point? Because it seems like the barrier to entry is fairly low for these companies.
I mean, Sony got out of it because of the margins weren't there, and
Right.
it was like hacked all to hell. So people weren't
Yeah.
buying games; they were just pirating games. They were buying the hardware and then not buying the game. So I mean, there's other considerations, but
Right.
I mean, yes, like I think we are in another golden age of handhelds, and I'm happy as can be for damn sure. And also, I mean, who else is probably happier is AMD, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
like AMD is like, I mean, the Z1, like, while it's not like the huge knockout of the park, I think everyone was hoping for. And there has been some testing because the GDP Win 2, I believe is that what it's called, has a 7450U or so many numbers I don't remember, but it's essentially a Z1 ish equivalent kind of thing. And it's not the exact same. Like who was it? The Fox on YouTube did some testing between an Ally and a GDP Win 2, and there are some like differences between it, but it's essentially the same RDNA 3 graphics and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, I think you were saying out of the AMD's like investor or whatever, or not the investor, like the quarterly stuff, like desktop stuff was down, but custom was up, which I mean, it's probably console and custom.
So console. So basically consoles, portables, any other custom parts that they're doing that we don't know about. And desktop, laptop was it's one of those rides at the amusement park where they drop you straight down. So it was very ugly for it.
So yeah, I mean, like other than NVIDIA being in the Switch, and also there are some handhelds that give an Intel-based option if you want it, but most of the time they don't sell that many of that version. Like, yeah, this is an AMD-dominated field, so I'm sure they're happy with this.
Well, it turns out, of course, this shows you how familiar I am with Windows 11 still, but Windows 10 would actually switch to a tablet mode. It looks like they don't have that no more. Or at least maybe I've turned it off so successfully I can't even find it on Windows 11. But I mean, the thing is, it's actually pretty touch friendly no matter what. But the concept of this sort of, iPad like the whole damn takes over the window experience is gone now. It looks like so.
Well, yeah. Hold on, we have a special guest in the chat. Gamers Nexus was here in the chat. Thank you so much. I'm going to assume it's Steve. Welcome. Maybe not. Give us a $50 super chat. Thank you so much. You don't have to do that.
Thank you.
Now
Wow,
we're
thank you so
in
much.
we're in the pocket of big Gamers Nexus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spend it on more testing, Steve. Spend it on more
Yeah.
testing.
Yeah.
We're
Thank you.
luckily our management is not watching this. We just steal from them. So,
You said, "Hey Adam, if you were to be on a plane for 14 hours to Taiwan, would you take the Steam Deck or the Ally?" We kind of talked about it a little bit. I would. I'm taking the Steam Deck. It just it's a known. Like I've been using it for a year. I know what to expect from it. It just like I just want to play games when I'm on the plane. I don't want to have to futz with too much. And right now the Ally, I'm having to futz a little too much pre-release. Also, will you sign my Computex badge? Sure. Also,
Why not?
if you really want me to, I'll get you. We'll swap signatures. P.S. Who's the guy next to you? A new intern? Yeah. Yeah. Gordon.
yeah, actually, I need
Welcome.
I need to have Steve sign something so I can give it to. I was at a memorial this weekend. This kid who ran the IT for the memorial was like, "Hey, are you Gordon?" It's like, "Oh yeah," because it's like, "Oh yeah," and of course I was like, "Oh yeah, did you see me in a Steve video?" Because it's like, I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, we're only popular because of Steve.
So I'm gonna hopefully have Steve sign something. I'll give it to the kid because it'll be so super like
Oh
jazz.
man, that would be cool.
That's really cool. What's this other thing? Who I signed it to? Like, oh,
He's like, well, why'd you
Can
do
I-
that?
is
Now,
that-
it's,
did you-
now it's less valuable.
is it permanent ink you signed that in? Oh no, it's watercolor.
He's
I
like-
thought you might want to wash it out. Yeah.
I'm imagining that moment right now when you guys exchange badge. It's kind of like the end of the World Cup where like your players exchange jerseys. So,
Oh, do
like,
they
you're
do that?
exchanging,
Oh,
like
wow.
shirts. And, yeah.
Wait,
yeah,
wait, hold on.
Like
They exchanged the jerseys they're wearing?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like
it's a-
sweaty
it's-
and nasty.
It's
Like
a classic.
I'd be like, no, I don't want that one.
They also do it at the end of like a series final. Like
really?
They'll exchange, and then the biggest burn is when you try to exchange it with somebody, and they're like, "Actually, no, because I'm trying to exchange it with somebody cooler than you." And it's a real burn, and it's always caught on camera, and then somebody will talk about it, just like,
like,
"Oh, damn." Could you imagine that at Computex though? Because it's like Like if you saw people's bellies, you'd be like, "Ah!"
And Steve says he's happy to sign. So bring it
cool.
to. We actually have we have a date. We're going on a date with Gamers Nexus.
Yay.
So we have it on the schedule. Looking forward to it. Anyway, one of the last things, and actually, if Steve's here, I'll bring this up. There's a discussion on Twitter that I had. Adam Epos Vox was on there and is like, hey, you know, I'm seeing all these review videos about performance, and this is BS because it has a major design flaw, and who cares about performance if it has this major design flaw? And it's actually something I have encountered. We actually did see it on stream too, where some of the buttons, specifically I've had the A and the X catch. I can't necessarily replicate it, but I've definitely, there we go. I got it.
Oh, that's
weird. So the X, and that's bad. That is not good.
But it doesn't affect the other buttons?
It doesn't affect the other buttons. Other review units have shown this, and yes, this is bad. Asus has commented and said, hey, we know about this, and that in the production final ones, the actual circumference of the buttons are larger to account for it. We don't know, you know, like I don't have that in hand, so I can't comment on that. But Steve had hopped in and he's like, yeah, this is the reason why we don't, if a company can't send us a working final unit, we don't accept it. You know, so like I feel like I'm on two minds of that, which, you know, I said in the Twitter thread, but I wanted to get you guys' opinions. I mean, especially the boss of PC World. What is your take on review units that, like, you know, have a flaw like that, and the company says, oh, hey, don't worry, the final shipping ones, you know, will get fixed. I mean, obviously, if this is still a problem on final shipping units, that's a problem. Yes.
Yep.
But what about like getting a review unit in, knowing of anything that we do, knowing that it has some sort of flaw in it? What are your thoughts on that?
Definitely mention it, disclose it in full, you know, explain exactly what happened. Just quote whatever Asus said to you in the review. Say, hey, they say it's going to be fixed. They say they're aware of it, all this, all that. And then hopefully you have the chance to go back and double check with actual review units.
Yeah, actually,
retail units.
Yeah, I was actually going to pre-order a version from Best Buy. I haven't done it yet. I don't even know if the pre-orders are still open. But yeah, I do actually want to pre-order one from Best Buy and see what the Best Buy experience is like. I do wonder actually if the Best Buy, you can walk into Best Buy and get one on a shelf, or if it's always just going to be back ordered or something and it's only online.
Is it even actually in stock? I mean, it
hasn't come out yet, so
okay.
It's only in pre-order right now.
Do they stock the Steam Deck or no?
No, they don't. No.
I mean,
I don't understand why they did the reviews so early.
Yeah, because it's the 12th, I think, is the ship date.
Yeah, the middle of next month.
I mean,
they want to get ahead of Computex.
Yeah,
because there's all kinds of news.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I mean, especially because also, like, I mean, I got my review unit in 2 days before embargo. You know, there were
a day and a half.
Yeah, a day and a half. Yeah, there were other reviewers that, you know, on their review video said they had it for a week. So, you know, I think units were coming in pretty hot. And I mean, there's definitely software things in the interface that feel like, you know, they need a little more time, of course, for sure. So, you know, like, it's one of those things that at least, like, yeah, once again, I was like, okay, I'm going to make note of this stuff and hopefully they improve it. I mean, we always say, like, never buy based off of future promises, right? If it works now, get it now how you like it, but at least know that is something. So
I say never say never.
But
no, I'm with Brad too, because I traditionally, and of course, coming from print background, you are so far ahead of any launch schedule sometimes. Just to be able to do it, you have to look at pre-release hardware. But you always say, like, oh, it's got this problem, it's got this problem.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, print, like, yeah.
Your months, you're literally a month or two ahead sometimes of a launch, but
I'm so glad those are done.
Yeah, well, I know. It was a special time, but it's gone the way of the dodo bird. I think you have to call it out, and it's just kind of that uneasy thing. And you sure as hell hope the company doesn't launch with these errors. And, you know, generally they do, because of, like, clearly, like, that button getting stuck, that's a deal breaker, because somebody's going to return that. You're just going to eat it in RMAs.
Well, I mean, you literally can't play that. Like,
yeah. So you know, like,
generally, I've gotten it at least daily.
Yeah, and it's generally a self-correcting problem, except sometimes it isn't. Because they know they're going to eat it on the return. But I can tell you, growing up with decades of consumer-based gaming hardware, sometimes it's like, yeah, you can fix that by buying another one. And you're just like, that was just the way it was. I'm talking 30 years ago, you get your little Coleco or whatever Mattel thing, and it was like, the thing was like screwed, and it was like, well, tough. Because there was just no way. It just was different. So I think it is rough. So I don't know what the easy answer is, because honestly, both ways can be correct. Although the wrong way is to not mention it, right? Because that's clearly not right.
Yeah. No, and I mean, and that's the thing. Like, there's definitely, I feel like the handheld people that I follow on YouTube, like they're having a field day. They're just like releasing multiple videos. Like, yeah, a lot of them have like a definitive review, but like, they're posting like one every couple days, being like, okay, this is power performance under 15 watts. Here is it versus the Steam Deck. Here, we're getting so much coverage out here, and hopefully it gets mentioned somewhere. So I totally understand where Adam is coming from, Epos Vox Adam, of like, hey, why isn't this being like, why are you even looking at performance if it has this fatal flaw? But it's also part of the story as well. So like, I think if hopefully. Well, and I also do think, I mean, I guess it's going to Best Buy, so I don't know. But like, I feel like somebody getting this level versus this level is looking for something to kind of tinker. It's kind of like Arc. We talked about this last time. Like, the people who are buying Arc are people who are okay tinkering a little bit. If you want the Ally, you probably should be okay tinkering a little bit, because it's definitely not as easy to use as the Steam Deck, which can be tinkered for damn sure. But like, for the Ally, like, to get it to where I wanted it to be mine, definitely took some time. Where the Steam Deck, I mean, you just load in, it is what it is.
All the game console experience, frankly, handheld
closer
console.
to console,
closer to handheld console experience, Windows gaming experience. And that's, because I mean, there's cool things. Although again, that was the same problem. Having the ability to add an eGPU to me is really awesome,
and it really bugs me that I haven't gotten it to work. I mean, like, that's like, I don't call that a fatal flaw yet, because also number one, it's super expensive. Number two, it's early hardware. So hopefully I'm trying to chat with Asus about getting that working. But yeah, that's something I haven't fully been able to test, because I do think that is a cool thing. It's like a Switch that actually has access to more power, right? You handheld on the go. Like, I think now that I've settled into a little bit more of a flow with it, which I have, like, okay, I'm going to game handheld at like around 15 watts, is kind of the sweet spot, unless I want to be jacked in and I really want performance for something specific. But most of the time, handheld, I don't care that much. But if I want to, I have my Ally plugged into the TV or my monitor or something, with the eGPU, and just have access to a different tier performance. And yes, these are mobile variants. So like, I mean, because they have an RTX 3080, a 6850M, and a 4090, and they're all laptop versions,
right?
So like, you're definitely not getting full fat, desktop versions out of it, but like, you're definitely getting more than what's inside. I mean, I love eGPUs, so I it does bum me out that it has. We talked about this last time. Sorry, it's proprietary. You can't use a traditional Thunderbolt eGPU, which is a bummer.
I don't know.
Yeah,
because it does leverage what's out there. Although I would,
and also the prices of the XG mobiles have went down. The RTX 3080 version, which is 2 years old now. They call it the XG Mobile 2021. That one came out at $1,500 and just recently got a price cut to $1,100. The 6850M was $1,500, I think, when it came out as well, and just got a price cut to $800, I believe.
Yeah, I would like to see. I mean, the thing is, it kind of made sense when it was introduced as an add-on semi-portable GPU for your ultra-portable laptop or tablet. With this, I would like the idea of, because they're fully committed to this interface now. I would love to see them introduce a cabinet that takes standard GPUs but has their interface.
Yeah.
So then you could just run a
Which would be cool.
full-size- Yeah, it would be cool, and that'd be a shout out to the people.
Which
who-
Asus has had eGPU cabinets.
they have,
Yeah,
but they don't have
So,
their interface.
not
so
with their
it would be
interface.
nice to see that. It would take more work to do that, but it'd be nice.
Anyway, long story short, like I love, in some ways I love it, in some ways I don't love it so much. Like it's fun. It's an in between kind of thing to mess around with. I think this does replace the other Windows handheld device that I used to use, the AOK Zoe A1. This will replace that for me, but it definitely does not just like completely replace the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck's still going to have reasons to be in my hands. So
I want to. It's going to take a month or two, and lawyers would probably never let us do it. But I want to see Breath of Zelda or Zelda freaking Tears of the Kingdom running an emulation on that thing in a couple of months.
Oh well.
Why not just buy a Switch though, or whatever the hell?
But no,
That's a Switch on steroids.
yeah. So he's saying this because others actually have already done it, and it runs great. I'm not going to comment if I tried it or not, but yeah. I mean, even a Switch emulation on the Steam Deck is not bad either.
That's going to be a whole nother set of drama.
That's whole nother, whole nother thing.
I was going to ask another question, but I won't because it'll extend the handheld gaming thing.
No, please. I mean,
My prediction.
if it's a good question.
My prediction. I'll make it a prediction. That way, there's no answer.
Okay, there you go.
I predict next version of Switch will be based on commodity hardware. Well, commodity custom hardware from either Intel or AMD.
It'll be NVIDIA. Sorry.
I agree with that.
Well, the next version.
But we'll
'cause they're too
The version
far,
after that,
they're
maybe.
too far into the development cycle, but they're going to be looking at it like, damn, because those prices. You got Sony. By then, you'll have Sony in there. You're going to have Microsoft, Xbox in there. You're going to have 5 other vendors making their version of the Ally, and the second. It's going to be really nice because it's a real good category to have.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I could definitely see Intel looking at this and being like, "Dang, why aren't we in this?"
Well, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Because we got fabs, we got graphics,
Yeah.
we still got graphics, we got CPU. We'll do this, right? And they want to be there, and they tried to be there several years ago. There just wasn't in the cards. So.
Yeah. So that was one talk about Asus, Asus. Dang it.
ROG,
No, yeah,
Ally.
not Raj.
ROG, Raj Ally. See Raj, hey Raj,
yeah.
what's up?
So from one Asus topic to another, we talked about this a little bit last week, but there has been more stuff that's kind of transpired in the past week around their motherboards and PR and things like that. Gordon, give us a quick recap of what happened so far.
Quick recap. I will catch up. We could start with Gamers Nexus. By the way, go over to Gamers Nexus YouTube channel, like and subscribe. Buy merch to support that kind of cool testing they're doing.
Yes.
Steve and crew took a direct shout out at Asus. It's a little hot. It's coming in hot, but the title is Scumbag Asus, overvolting CPUs and screwing the customer. It was very much a very hot video taking issues with Asus's BIOSes, basically on multiple issues. One is on all of the BIOS updates that were beta that corrected the issues with putting too much voltage into the SoCs. They basically said these are, beta BIOSes and they're not warranted. So he had big problems with that because you basically have to run the BIOS in order to make your supposedly PC safer. So and then you're basically, according to their own language, violating your warranty. And then also the other issue is even with the updated BIOS, according to his testing, they are still overvolting the CPU beyond what AMD's recommendations are, so you can catch up to that. I will also point out LTT talked about it, and Linus and Luke had a point. Like, actually, it is a valid point that they call it they say it violates your warranty, but they do say they've always had this. In fairness, Asus has always had this verbiage on their beta BIOSes,
and not just Asus, probably, right? Would most manufacturers have on their warranty?
It might be for support. It might be basically the lawyer, it's just boilerplate stuff the lawyers made him put in. But I mean,
which side note, DeBauer had a video about. I think the title was like AMD and Intel want you to lie to them, talking about the warranties of overclocking.
Yeah, and that was about the whole XMP Expo thing.
Yep.
And I mean, they do kind of like they don't ask. We won't ask if you don't tell, basically, and that's the way it is. The other video I also want to point out that kind of catches it up a little bit on this is a video from Hardware Busters. You know him, of course, as Eris for cybernetics power testing. Basically, in his testing of a Gigabyte motherboard, he found that it was continuing to also put in more voltage to the SoC, even with the updated BIOS. So basically saying, hey, this is happening elsewhere as well. And then also the last bit of new information, ASUS did put out an update dated May 15th, 2023. Quote, we want to address the concerns that have been raised by our users about whether recent BIOS updates will impact the warranty of ASUS AM5 motherboards, period. We would like to reassure our customers that both beta and fully validated BIOS updates for ASUS AM5 motherboards are covered by the original manufacturer's warranty. We would also like to confirm the following points. 1. The ASUS AM5 motherboard warranty also covers all AMD Expo, Intel XMP, and DOCP memory configurations. 2. All recent BIOS updates follow the latest AMD voltage guidelines for AMD Ryzen 7000 series processors. Furthermore, we would like to reiterate that our commitment to supporting the AMD AM5 platform and our customers. For any further inquiries about your ASUS AM5 motherboard, please contact our customer service for support. Thank you for choosing ASUS. And they basically also have a long list of motherboards that have the updated BIOSes with the 2007, whatever. I can't remember that.
I'm glad that they did that. It's a little bit too little too late. This kind of blew up all over the place over the last couple of weeks. But I firmly disagree with the way that they're framing this. They're not reassuring anybody of anything. They're trying to make it sound like this is just how it works. This is, of course we're going to do the beta BIOS. Of course you can use Expo and stuff. The issue is specifically that they had the language in there and says, we do not support this. And it was the same deal Steve showed in his testing with Expo and stuff and some of these updated beta BIOSes. It would say, if you're doing XMP, if you're doing, all that stuff, Expo, it can void your warranty. So the way ASUS is framing this is trying to make it sound like, hey, we didn't do anything wrong here. But when in fact they did get a lot of the details wrong here, and they're very important details, and there's a reason they have to make the statement.
Yeah, because it runs exactly counter, because you actually have the page literally saying violates your warranty, and then you can't really come back and say, we want to reassure you that it covers your warranty, because like that's counter to what the original statement is. But again, that boilerplate language has been there for a long time, and it's clear it's the lawyers that kind of got in there and made them put that in there.
Those lawyers are wrong.
Yeah, I mean, would they have done this if this didn't blow up, right? If this didn't turn into this whole issue right now, they probably would have just left it on there, because, I mean, honestly, why? I mean, and also, it's again, I don't know how many people have ever had their warranties declined for, violating that by running a beta BIOS, but I don't think it's just kind of one of those little ticky-tack things that I think, like, the last thing, like when you park your car and you read that little ticket, it says if somebody comes in, breaks in your car, and takes a dump in your car, we're not responsible, right? It's not true. Every lawyer, every friend is like, that is not true. They are still responsible. You paid to park in that parking lot. You can still hold them responsible for that. But they try to put that in there because they want you to, like, just go home and have your insurance company take care of it. So,
I mean, legit question, and I put this out to the chat as well. Has anybody actually experienced having either a CPU or a motherboard denied RMA because they ran any of that stuff? I am, like, seriously curious.
Well, we know no. Well, we know,
no, I bet there might be people. That's why I'm giving people the option. I think it's more like, it's hard, man. Having worked with lawyers, especially here at this company, there's definitely things where you're just like, do I really? What? That doesn't
Yeah.
what? And they're like, oh no, we need that. What? I mean, okay, I guess. Is it enforceable? Nah, we need to. It's just like, so it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's stupid to have something in there, especially if you're not going to be able to enforce it. But like, I can understand why lawyers are like, no, we should have that in there.
Yeah, because lawyers are
Right.
they're there to keep your ass from being exposed, and I mean,
It was the opposite in this case. If that is the reason that boilerplate language, which is probably unenforceable in the U.S., I'm pretty sure that if you buy hardware and you install software from the manufacturer, if something goes wrong, like they got to replace it. If the lawyers asked them to put them in there, like that's wrong. That shouldn't be there. And it's not so much like it's lawyer stuff. No, like if the lawyers are doing that and that's not cool, it really reared its head and doubled back and bit him in the butt here.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like all of this is ASUS's own making. Like they made the BIOSes that were having issues putting too much voltage into those motherboards. They're the ones who then, with the only BIOSes that could potentially attempt to start to fix the problem, put that disclaimer on there. Considering how big news this already was, someone there should have said, hey man, we can't say the only fix for this is something that'll void your warranty. That's just insane.
Yeah, I like honestly, it felt like what they should have done is because it was the classic. It looks so. Again, Linus and Luke, they looked at an archive of the site. It had the same void your warranty stuff in it from a year ago. So if that was already in existing place, I'm sure like, hey, here's the new beta BIOS that fixes this problem, right? Upload it. Okay, I'll upload it, and we will use the same thing. Like for all beta BIOSes, there's no warranty. And then, of course, it's like now it's like, did you intend to put that in there to say no warranty? Well, that's what we put on all of them, right? Because that's what they run on all of them, and they're kind of screwed because I mean the way to head that off is like, oh, somebody should have said, oh, we can't put that on there because it looks like we're telling people you have to run this fix to fix it, and by the way, you have no warranty. They should have removed that from this beta BIOS is what they should have done. But also I want to point out the other thing Steve pointed out is they went in, they sort of like rejiggered, they removed a lot of beta BIOSes that, I mean, they don't want people to run clearly. And they also updated their table of compatible, so, and it just looks, and then of course they removed all the verbiage now. So again, if you go, I looked last night and they don't say it violates your warranty anymore. So that's all gone, but that's kind of one of those things where like it looks like it's worse because now you're like, oh, you were trying to do something wrong, right? So
I want to say I'm not downplaying. I just feel like I can relate because there has like back when I'll use an example. That's not going to get me in trouble. Back when we used to do giveaways, I worked with our legal team for literally over a year and be like, come on, we got to do giveaways. Like it'd be so easy. And then like I just worked with them forever to figure out like, a template for giveaways. And I was like, come on, like this is anyway. And then we finally came up with a template and it was like, okay, it was easy to kind of plug and play stuff. And I was like, okay, thank you for the template. I'm going to go use this. And they're like, oh, but this is only for this giveaway. If you have another giveaway, we need to look it over again. And I'm like, wait, all I'm going to do is replace the object and how much it's worth in this template. And they're like, yeah, we still need to look at it. And I'm just like, oh my, like really? Like, you know what I mean? So I was just like, I'm once again not downplaying, but like I can understand where it was just like, oh, it's this template, or we had the lawyers look at it real quick because we need to put it up. Like it's never that easy, unfortunately, and that sucks. And that sucks for us. It sucks for consumers. Like
yeah.
So it's an annoying kind of thing.
And the other thing I also want to point out again, looking at this statement ASUS has posted. This actually says to me there's something else. And it says, because we know that I think the latest Steve video said that the 1007 Agisa that's in that BIOS is still above, in his testing, above voltages.
So even this fix isn't.
ASUS says all recent BIOS updates follow the latest AMD voltage guidelines for AMD Ryzen 7000 series processors.
Wait, meaning the AMD guidelines? Or
so they're basically saying, look, you can say whatever you want about this BIOS, but this is what we're supposed to do.
Which Steve did what was it on Twitter, or maybe he said it in the video too, like that Asus tried to throw AMD under the bus. I saw it on him say that on Twitter. So maybe that's them trying to be like, oh no, go talk to AMD.
Well, another thing too is
but it's still their, I mean, it's still their motherboard.
Well, it's still their motherboard. They're the ones that are going to eat the RMA on it. But again, you know, if the BIOS is still, you know, technically above the voltage that is being measured, and again, look at this again. I want to point out Hardware Busters International, ARS's channel. Also go like and subscribe. Great content on power supplies and all this stuff. But he shows basically a Gigabyte board running above the voltage too, I believe. So,
well, didn't Steve also get in a Gigabyte board? I don't think.
I think they're one of the other boards that went bad. Is the
also have we heard anything official from AMD on any of this?
They have issued. I don't know what the latest. I should look it up too. Gosh. I didn't ask for it, so I should.
Not really, though. Not really.
Not much. They're basically kind of, you know, they've made recommendations for people to limit voltage to 1.3 volts on SoC voltage.
I mean, Computex is coming up. Do you think they'll talk about it? Probably. I guess they're not doing a keynote or anything.
Yeah, they may not be.
Actually,
doing
you
anything.
probably don't want to get on a keynote and be like, "Hey, we messed up."
Yeah, no, that's not. Yeah, no, you do it. No, that's
yeah.
You definitely don't do it there. So.
Like, hey, here's this new thing. Also, sorry, we messed up. But hey, I mean, it'd be nice to get out in front of people.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I guess I'm curious, like where. I mean, we talked about this a little bit last time too, so we're kind of treading water here. But like, is this ultimately an AMD thing? Is it an Asus thing? I mean, it sounds like Gigabyte, you know, as other motherboard manufacturers could potentially have this thing too. Like, where's the fix? How do we fix this? Does it need to get fixed? How many people are actually running into problems?
I mean, that's the other thing too is it's still, we do have to remember there's not like a lot of parts that have actually been reported as bad. I mean, there's definitely been a handful.
And there's a lot of people, I mean, I think the bigger thing a lot of people are worried about is degradation, right? Sure, mine didn't blow up, but did it run hot enough to have it not, you know, not live
shorten the
1 year
lifespan.
longer?
Well, and the other thing too is, look,
which, I mean, we don't want to know. Like,
we don't know.
How do you figure that? How do you quantify that?
I don't know, because it really, and then you're to the really sticky part where you already have lawyers sniffing around this. And I don't mean internal lawyers at ASUS, AMD, Gigabyte, MSI, and all those.
I got to hop in here. I got to go.
Oh, you got to go.
It was nice. I was hanging out
Brad,
with
you got to go.
I got to go.
Brad's got a heart out, so sorry.
We'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Brad. Bye.
So I do want to mention that there are class action lawyers. Look, we're going to see.
That's what Brad. Yeah, no. That's for everyone who's watching audio. Brad left, and now we're seeing in Zoom what Brad sees. Is our little delay.
The delay,
and then the delay is going to be even more of a delay. Go to PCWorld.com. Anyway,
but I want to point out that there are lawyers circling. Right, they're sniffing around.
Yep,
they're asking for people that are affected. You get a lawyer involved anytime. Like, everything is fine. Everything's fun and games until lawyers show up.
Yeah.
Then it is as serious as a heart attack at every single company. These companies cannot say jack squat because of the liability here. And I'm talking AMD to ASUS to every single board maker, right? Oops, sorry, that was the timing for Brad to get out. So, I didn't know it was going to make noise. I got the thing vibrate. So, but when you're worried about getting sued in a class action lawsuit, and you know, class action lawsuits often are terrible for companies because they basically hand over the money whether they're wrong or right. Sometimes they're wrong, they lose, and if they're right, they still lose because it's easier to pay the lawsuit. And I don't want to bag on class action lawsuit lawyers because there's definitely some I have known and worked with that do excellent work. But the vast majority of, you know, as we know, class action lawsuits, like, oh, by the way, for your $600 CPU, here's $12, right? By the time by the time lawyers' fees have eaten everything up,
you won. Here's $12.
So yeah, no, it can be. I just think. I know everybody's kind of driven crazy because you want to know everything, you want to know what's up, but you got lawyers. Every time you've ever dealt with a corporate lawyer, and they are like, you need to shut the F up because you are not going to expose us to whatever this it turns into a really serious lawsuit, right? So that's something that people really need to consider as this rolls out.
Yeah, which brings me to another thing that kind of happened. Sorry, we're kind of all over the place, but Steve did reach out to Asus to talk about this. Offered to to have a chat, but with the signifier that they wanted to do it on video. According to Steve, then they ghosted him, or they said no, or what was it?
I think it was. I think what he had said,
or they reached out to him.
Yeah.
To say, hey, can we talk about this? He was like, okay, let's talk about this, but let's do it on video. And then Asus was like, essentially no.
Yeah.
So like, I have a couple questions out of it. Number one, I mean, could this be a lawyer thing? I don't know who from Asus had reached out to them. Maybe it was a lawyer to be like, hey, we should talk about this. And they're like, no, we're lawyers. We can't do this on camera. And then here's the other thing. I actually can see it both ways. Like, I can understand why Asus like maybe would want to have a chat with Steve.
Sure.
To get to the truth of things without having it be on camera.
Yeah.
And I can see Steve wanting to have it on camera for sure. So I guess there's the first part about the lawyer stuff. Do you think that's the reason maybe why Asus didn't want to talk on camera? And number two, should have Asus talked on camera about this, or do you? Yeah, where do you draw that line as a journalist between having a conversation off the record or on background, and maybe even describe the differences between those?
Yeah. So
versus doing it live, because I think to the normal person like that was like, oh, well, Asus doesn't want to talk on camera. They must be doing something shady.
Right. Yeah. And I don't really know what their offer was or who wanted to talk. But again, the fact that there already is somebody, a class action lawyers or hey, please, if you got a problem with your, motherboard, CPU, contact us.
Blood's in the water.
Blood's in the water. I don't know whether that played into it or not. It could be, so classically, when people want to talk to you on background, and I'll explain that in a minute what the difference is, they may want to say like, look, there's two ways the reason we want to talk to you. One is, look, we want to talk to you because there's things we can't really say, and we want to sort of set the record straight publicly. So that they may want to, and this is the weird thing. So look, first I'm going to define.
Yeah, you should define it first.
Most people, when you watch movies or TV shows, they use the terminology incorrect. So off the record, which everybody says means off the record.
Oh, hey, I got this. I got this politician. They're telling me something off the record. I'm going to go write this up.
Yeah, it doesn't mean the same thing. So when somebody says off the record, that means you never discuss it again. So Adam Patrick Murray, by the way, I'm from like Beetlejuice, right? And I'm telling you this, and you can never talk about it. And I'm the president. I've taken over your country, but I'm from Mars or something. So you basically, when you agree as a journalist, as a reporter, to be off the record.
Wait, sorry. In this scenario, I'm the journalist?
You say you are, and I say this, you're not supposed to ever talk about it. And that's the way I've always taken it. But it's like Wait,
but in the movies, then they would take that information and then make something and then be like, oh, one of my sources said.
Right. So the president's from Beetlejuice, right? So what they really mean is the term background. So when hey, let's have a background talk about this. By the way, this water that you are drinking from the tap has been contaminated with radioactive material. I have proof. Let's talk about it on background. To the public. Obviously, you can't say you got it from me because I don't want to get fired. I got mortgage and all that stuff. But I want you to tell the public this. That's classically how people will think what off the record is, but they really mean background. And then there's another layer that's called deep background where you don't say name, you don't use quotes, and basically that's basically a different level of like, a source is.
You got the information, and you can disclose the information, but you can't disclose where, how, or those details.
So like the problem with being off the record,
which is you can't talk about anything.
Never talk about it. So now again, this is the way it was taught to me in school. Is you really never want to go there. Because if you come and tell me, by the way, we know who shot JFK, right? So here's who it
breaking
is.
news.
Here's his address
Wow,
and
we
phone
know this?
number, and here's his YouTube page or whatever, right?
But you're off the record.
But
I'm
off the
telling
record-
you this off the record.
So not only are you not supposed to ever talk about it, so some people it's like, well, can't I now approach somebody else and get to that information? Technically, no, because the way we were always taught was like, no, you can never talk about it. So they basically
because
means
technically, even though you know, you should act like you never know. So
Right.
it's actually because what you want to get two sources at least. So you can't even say that that's your first source because technically you don't even know it.
yeah. So I mean, there's all those other gradations. Like so maybe you mean, we can confirm, but there's all these ridiculous journalism rules and that nobody follows because nobody even knows what the hell they mean anymore.
Which I can say, I mean, I've sat in on meetings with Gordon, and you will specifically state up front, hey, are you talking on background?
Right.
You know,
Because sometimes they really mean, when they say off the record, they mean on background. And this is where we get to the Steve conversation. Because I don't know if they meant they just wanted to, because it works two ways. One, I tell you there's radioactive water that the public is drinking, and the public needs to know that. Or two, I'm trying to spin you. So like, hey, by the way, did you know that Coca-Cola has feces in it? Really? Oh, I'm not gonna worry about your. I know. Actually, I shouldn't even use that brand. I say whatever.
Oh,
No,
the
no
lawyers
longer.
are coming now.
But I'm just saying,
HR's
like,
calling me right now.
but so you can see where you might try to use something to misdirect, right? So it's possible you take a meeting like that and they try to like, oh, by the way, it's something more inflammatory to get you onto something else and to forget about their problems. And I have known reporters that will no, there's no such. I'm not going to talk. And exactly what Steve did was, I ain't going to talk unless it's on, like either recorded
On
or
the record.
on the record.
Yeah.
And there are times when you do that. And again, I don't think Steve was wrong to do that. There are times when it can be useful to like, maybe there's more information to be known that I want to know that they just can't.
Which actually, I mean, to put that in context, at least how I see it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but so if Steve would have agreed to go off the record, which
Yeah.
means he can't disclose what was part of that conversation, and Asus tells him something like, oh, hey, here's why this isn't working, then Steve can't talk about it. He can't get it out to the public. So yeah, he doesn't want to go off the record.
Right.
Because then like he wants the information to get out, right? But also Asus might have information that they want to know. Or I mean, here's the other thing. I mean, we're talking deeply about this because I think it's interesting to know. Like, I love learning about the journalism practices from you. I never went to journalism school, so it's kind of interesting to hear about that stuff. But two, I mean, and of course we don't know the situation here, so maybe Asus wanted to just talk on background,
Right.
and still have that information out. But it sounds like it doesn't matter because Steve, he wanted to have everything public.
Yeah.
But I mean, and there could be legit reasons that Asus doesn't want to have stuff public, right?
Yeah, and that's where you really run into this. I don't know what the right answer is. There's definitely, you make a choice, and that's what it is, right? So it is what it is, and I think, yeah, from Steve's point of view, yeah, you need to go on the record on this, and I think it's fair because obviously he's hot over the. I mean, there's kind of like that. Just things kind of stacking up. So have this new BIOS coming out and then saying your warranty will be, there's just kind of, I mean, it just kind of suck, right? But I don't know what the hell would have been said. I don't know what it is.
Well, here's a good question from Alla Krat. Why have an interview that you can't talk about? Yeah. So why would a company, maybe explain to them, why would a company want to have an interview that wasn't on the record and have it on background? Well, once again, explain. Yeah.
Well, because maybe it could be like, look, we don't want to come out and say you did it wrong, but you did it wrong, right? Or maybe this or that, or here's more information, but we don't want to because you don't want to, like, again, like I honestly, for ASUS, they can't come out and say everybody's wrong, right?
It's like, oh, hey, Steve, you did this testing wrong.
Because they know that what that would immediately look like. I know what
They
everybody
would look
assume.
like, yeah.
But at the same time, but maybe it's like, hey, let's just have a background. So recently I just had a background briefing. Here's information. Here's how we're going to be defining things in the future. Okay. That's just information that I know, but it wasn't like we want to come out and actually have information that's, this is the official, we've come down with the tablets and here's what it is. Sometimes I just want to tell you information on background. So So not with a name attached to us. We're not trying to make news, but we want you to know, by the way, people, underselling does not mean we are withholding product in order to maintain prices. We're underselling means this, right? And that could be useful. Like, hey, most tech press don't deal with financial terms. Here's what underselling is. Just here's a background briefing, but we don't want to have you don't want to have an executive come out and here's what underselling means. Maybe we just want to make sure that you understand what this means, right? And it could be as simple as that. And again, part of the reasons why sometimes you don't want to do it, and why Steve may want to do it, is because it can be used for misdirection too, right? It can be used to get somebody off the trail. But I don't know. We don't know because who knows? It didn't happen, right? So, yeah. But there are times when it can be valid, right? I have plenty of off the record, or I have plenty of background discussions, and then you have that gray area where you're just at the bar, right? You go to an event, you're just talking to the bar. Somebody tells you something juicy. What the hell is that, right? They're not telling you because they want to. They're telling you because obviously everybody in this industry loves to talk, and they want to tell you something. Maybe it bubbles up later. I generally consider that to be deep background, but obviously, somebody telling you this at a bar after having too many beers, you need to verify it, right? So
here's an interesting example. I haven't watched this video, so I don't know what they're referencing, but a friend of the show, Matt, said, here's an example. NVIDIA spoke to Jared, I believe it's Jared's Tech, maybe? Or no, maybe it's Jared Walton. Yeah. That probably makes more sense. About one of his power scaling videos. They gave him extra info that helped him now and in the future. It wasn't recorded and didn't need to be. Oh, Jared Tech. No, it was Jared Tech.
Oh, Jared Tech.
Yeah.
So mobile stuff.
So yeah, laptop stuff. So yeah, it's like I feel like a lot of people are quick to be like, oh well, Asus is in the wrong, but we don't know. We don't like it. Could,
well, yeah. I mean, that's.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look. No matter what.
You would want Asus to be like, hey, you know what? Let's come out here. Let's just lay everything out on the table and just say it publicly. But I could at least understand that there might be situations where they don't want to. So.
Yeah, and again, that's up to everybody to make that decision because sometimes having background talks, discussions get you closer to the truth. And sometimes it's just to spin you, right? Because nobody wants to eat the bad news. So we don't know. So you make that choice based on
which companies do spin.
Yeah, for sure. Because there's real money to at risk, right? So there's people getting yelled at and all kinds of things. So, and I do think, unfortunately, in this situation, I'm going to read you because people won't respect it if I say it, but they will respect it if I read it from. Dr. Ian Cuttress.
Oh, Dr. Ian Cuttress. Oh, I don't think he's in. I haven't seen him in the chat. Have you seen him?
I haven't seen him.
He wasn't, but I copy this down. Oh no, I didn't. I have it in a window here that I then lost. Great.
Are you talking about that Twitter conversation I talked about?
Yeah. What the hell? Okay, I got it. I had no idea that he had two things. He's like KD. He's got like his burner account. I thought everything's under KD, meaning Kevin Durant.
Yeah. No, it's just at Ian Cuttress.
Let me just. Here.
We're finding Ian live on Twitter. That's always fun.
Yeah, so he's not in the chat, but I want to point out what he said. And I do think that's... Look, I'm not criticizing Steve. I'm not criticizing his user or anything. I just want to say that, and this is from Dr. Ian Cuttress, a reminder, if a company exists long enough, they're going to have a really bad product, an awful customer service screw-up, a disastrous press relations engagement, an eye-shattering product recall, in times when they have to fire people publicly for incompetence.
Which he's saying, when you get a company so large, no matter what company it is, there's going to be a problem that happens, right?
Right. And then there was a response from Dan Ernest, said, true measure of a company is how they respond to it. And Ian responds, agreed, but people are often too quick to judge before a company can analyze and respond. Or they assume the company is a homogeneous mass when really it is a multi-layered hierarchy. Hierarchy, subject, God. See, that's another word. We're going to eliminate that from the dictionary too. Subject to cultural norms, especially in Taiwan. So basically, I really took that as like, look, all companies have screw-ups. The problem now is not the reporting of it, which is totally correct. Steve calling them out on their warranty. Because, I mean, it's like, install this this BIOS to fix your problem
That's stupid.
that violates your warranty was just like, why didn't somebody just remove that line from that one beta BIOS? That is totally fair to call them out on. Even though honestly, I don't think they would have violated any warranties, but that was just somebody was like, oh geez, anyway, the problem is now people want to go on Reddit and Twitter and whatever favorite forum, and they just want to, everything is turned into sports NBA Twitter, where they just want to say shitty things about a company because they want to say shitty things about a company. And I think people need to just step back and relax. Again, we had Steve on here last week, and he's like, look, it's really, really hard to replicate this problem, right? So that it's not probably as, heart attack serious as some people are making it, but now sort of like people are kind of running. It's just turned to the meme, and memes are just bad.
Well,
There's just it'd be a
once
discussion.
again,
It's not memes.
Yeah, and we talked about this last time as well. I think we can end it on this one. Somebody asked earlier, I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was. I didn't grab it. Was saying, okay, does this mean I shouldn't buy Asus anymore?
That is up to you and your comfort level. There's an automaker that we had a bad experience with. We didn't buy their car the next time around. That is up to you. Would I have a problem running an Asus board? No, I would not have a problem. Frankly, and I was discussing this, like it's one of those things where I'm more comfortable with the UEFI that they have. I just like it over Gigabyte and MSI and competitors. The others are okay, but I'm just kind of used to it. So you do you, I do me. For me, I wouldn't have a problem with it. And again, remember the guidance from last week was like, look, keep the BIOS updated. This will get sorted out in a month or so.
Or if you undervolt, you're completely
or
fine.
undervolt. Yeah.
So yeah.
I totally do that in my small form factors.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. I mean, same thing for me. I think, and we talked about this before. That's a great thing about capitalism. If you don't want to support them, you don't have to. There are other awesome motherboard manufacturers out there.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, Asus. I don't think there's anything that they make that isn't well represented in another category, right? Like they make monitors. There's other good monitor manufacturers out there. They make motherboards. I mean, crap, they even make phone versions, and obviously there's other phone, so it's like, if you really don't want to buy Asus, like you could avoid them altogether if you wanted to, and that vote with your wallets, people. So,
Yeah. And
but also for me, I'm fine. This doesn't steer me necessarily from buying Asus products, so.
Right. But I just, you should buy on what your comfort level is. And the best thing ever is when you have choice. That's why, again, Intel getting into graphics, well, let's hope they stick around, is great for consumers to have more choice for everybody, right? And it's great to have this ROG Ally because more handhelds are better for everybody. So to have a choice, that's why I always think your strongest statement is they don't give a damn about you yelling on Twitter and Reddit that much. But when you don't buy their stuff, that's when they take it seriously. So yeah, clearly they're being punished for this. You could argue how much of this is really fair to them, whatever.
Also, you could argue who knows how much this is going to actually impact sales. Because, I mean, Asus is a big company. They sell a lot of things.
Yeah.
Who knows how far this information is getting out to the general consumer that probably makes up the bulk of what Asus sells to.
Yeah,
So-
that's a problem when you have a 1 hour Gamers Nexus investigation followed up by another 1 hour. And then you have all these videos where they are heavy deep dives where, frankly, most of us have a hard time following all of it. And then you try to distill that into a stupid meme that you post on Reddit and Twitter. Every time it's like, hey, I just bought my brand new ROG Ally, right? And then you're like coming like, oh, well, now it's time for me to say something crappy because, that's the way you do it on the internet. It's like, come on, this has nothing to do with that. But the problem is everybody wants to immediately say something crappy I just don't understand that. I mean, I get it. It's kind of funny, that kind of like smack talking you would do when you're just kind of hanging out with, but now everything is turned down to bar talk at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I don't understand how we've gotten here. So,
Shraf 2K says, if you don't yell on social media, then the company gets a pass. I don't believe that.
I don't believe they get that. I think when you don't buy it, that's when they don't get that pass. I know that's what it comes down to, right? So, and again, everything he did was perfectly within his right, and I think the right thing to do because they needed to ridiculous calling for people to install this BIOS to fix the problem in the meantime that actually does technically void your warranty with the language that says they void. I mean, that just made no sense, right? That was just kind of a boneheaded move. And it was just like, it was unfortunately boneheaded move after boneheaded move. And believe me, we've seen plenty of companies do it before. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
We did have a $5
Oh.
$5.50 Canadian dollar super chat from
Ooh,
Roving Cyclops earlier. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Asking, doesn't American Megatrend make most of the BIOS out there? Like, has anyone asked them for comments and about like why everyone is suddenly frying chips?
well,
So, yeah, AMI.
well,
AMI, yeah.
one, it's not everyone. AMI, I don't know, is Phoenix even still around? But they provide basically the BIOS framework. I think there's still the boards at ASUS, MSI, Gigabyte, BioStar, etc. They are still being, they don't. AMI doesn't go like, oh, give it this much power, right? So they
AMI is the framework.
Yeah.
The motherboard manufacturers
Probably the
come
best
in
way
and
to
put
describe
their own.
Yeah.
Their own.
I'm
version.
trying to think if that's
It's
the
like, or
best
like,
way, but I think
is it like Android?
no.
No?
I mean maybe.
Where it's like Google makes Android, but then Samsung comes and heavily modifies it to their own.
I mean, that's probably going a little too far,
Too
I
far.
think,
Oh,
because
okay.
Android is a full operating system.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
this is not, has nothing to do with AMI or any BIOS makers. They're not the ones going in and setting the parameters for the motherboard, how it comes up. As far as I know, for God knows, maybe, it's their fault. We don't know.
Okay.
We don't know. And by the way, I love Coca-Cola products. I love Diet Coke. There is
Even though
no,
they have feces in them, you just,
There is
you
no
just said
feces
that.
in them
You said
at
that
all.
on record.
that was clearly just,
Sarcasm.
just making a,
/S.
I'm an example of misdirect. I love Diet Coke products. I'm hoping to go to Taiwan and have Diet Coke
Co-fiber.
with-
plus fiber.
Adam will
Fiber.
still drink co-fiber in
Dude.
Taiwan.
I'm gonna have a problem because I'm gonna drink too much of it.
Just got to make sure it's,
even if it did come out that it legit had feces in it, I would still probably drink it.
no, don't.
And then lastly, a $4.99 super chat from Joseph Fruski saying,
you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. In my opinion, ASUS still makes a great motherboard.
Valid opinion.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Obviously, Asus is probably going to be at Computex, so we'll see what they have on hand, and
Yeah.
see if there's more developments to come from this. But if you want more information, once again, Gordon said we had Steve on last week's episode. Go watch that as well. Always good to have Steve. We'll you know what we're gonna have lunch with Steve. We'll talk off the record. I'm just kidding.
Over beef noodle.
I don't think Steve
kidding.
will probably have a
Just kidding.
camera
That's a
rolling.
joke. Yeah,
He's going to have like a GoPro cam in his hand. Just like, I don't know.
probably.
No, off the record here.
Anyway, we should move on. Speaking of Intel. Oh, you know what? Steve Anderson says, why is this overheating not happening with Intel? Probably because they just updated the microcode, Gordon. Right?
The mystery micro, and it is, let's not, it's not happening. Whatever is going on with the AMC side of the AM5 side of the fence, I don't know what the hell it is, but it's not happening on Intel, but we don't, it's not because obviously AMD makes a different product and there's a whole different framework associated with that. But I know you're backward patting yourself on the back, like, my Intel part.
Yeah, my Intel.
Oh yeah. We're built for those higher temperatures. We can take the heat.
Yeah, but
No.
the problem is the Intel parts have secret updates.
Yeah,
for security problems.
and I do want to mention this because we wrote about it on PC World. Everybody wrote about it, but basically there was a little bit of
Confusion.
I don't know about confusion, but like, what? This looks
Scared.
kind of scary. Most of the headlines were like, here's a one from Tom's Hardware. Intel deploys undisclosed microcode security update for CPUs going back to Coffee Lake. Issue Phoronix. God, why did I get that wrong?
Phoronix.
Intel issues new CPU microcode going back to Gen 8 for new undisclosed security updates. And then I also have to burn us as well.
PCWorld.com.
Intel microcode, because I can't like call out other publications without burning. And our
Hoffman.
headline was although was updated. Mysterious Intel patch released for almost every modern CPU. And this is because basically last week, Phoronix spotted a microcode update issued for Linux. And I love Linux because basically it's like everything has to be in the open. So like on the Windows side, like they can issue stuff. You have no idea what is going on. But oftentimes I realize this from talking to Wendell is like Linux is everything is like it's like a city council meeting. Everything.
Wait, are we going to see Wendell? I can't remember. I think he's going to be at Computex, right?
I hope so.
Oh, Wendell. Yeah. Somebody ping Wendell or let us know in the chat. Is Wendell going to Computex? We should hang out with him.
But so everybody, and of course the reason why we're talking about it because it ended up being basically a nothing burger, but it doesn't matter because typically when you ring, you can't unring that bell. People saw all those headlines, mysterious, secret, security, those kind of things, that word cloud of crap that the internet is going to, that's the thing that catches your attention. Like,
it was just missing AI.
Right, because they just had that like, that's something scary, mysterious, secret, right? And so people, they never catch up to the actual information. So that's why we're bringing it up. I asked Intel for an update, like, hey, what's up with this the other day? And they said, microcode 2023-0512 update released on May 12, 2023 does not contain any security updates. And the note, Intel-SA-NA, which people assumed was Intel Security Advisor not whatever, something not disclosed or whatever, is meant to convey that there are no applicable security updates in the package. So everybody basically thought the NA means not available, like because it's a secret. That's what everybody sort of assumed. It means basically not applicable. So basically Intel, they do this, they push out microcode updates for CPUs. It cleans up some things. The example I think I read in Wikipedia to make sure I got this correct is the original Pentium FDiff bug was obviously a disaster. They had to recall those original Pentiums because there was a problem where sometimes it gave you the wrong answer. Even if it was 1 out of 100 million times, you don't want your calculator giving you the wrong answer. They ended up eating all those chips, recalling them. And ever since then, they basically says, we need to find ways to sort of fix these kind of screw ups. So these kind of things sometimes fix screw ups. So this microcode fixed up some errata, and you can go read their errata there, disclosed on Intel and AMD's and everybody's websites, some kind of like little things. But the reason we're talking about it is to make sure that typically when you hear that Gordon Ung has been arrested for murder on the front page.
We are revealing so many things.
Let me tell you this newspaper trick. Yeah, front page, Gordon Ung arrested for murder. Gordon Ung, yeah, looks like they've released him. Found not to be, they've declined to press charges. Where's that? Page 15, right? That's just the way it is. You don't go like, it's not on the front page anymore. Yeah, when they spring you and like, yeah, he was just walking by, we decided to grab him. You don't get that attention. So that is important why we need to unring that bell as much as we can. It was not secret. It was not, I guess it was mysterious just because it didn't matter. But if people try to run away with that and think that it was, they were patching in some crazy thing. They didn't, according to them, we don't know what it is. And you have to believe a public company will not risk being sued by lawyers about lying about stuff. It's a nothing burger, but sometimes you have to talk about the nothing burgers so they don't turn into something burgers.
So in this microcode update, is this a BIOS thing? Is this something you can get through Windows? How is this updated?
Well, what will most likely happen is it'll be rolled into future BIOS updates for your system. And it's 8th gen and forward. So any modern, like this laptop is 8th gen, it'll probably get it rolled in at some point. Sometimes you even get them downloaded from, Microsoft these days.
So if you are worried, there's a way to not get it, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, you could just
don't update the BIOS.
Never update your BIOS, right?
Okay.
So it'll never show up. Although again, some OEM laptops, they're getting even. I've maybe boards. I've gotten some laptops where it's like, oh wait, I didn't install that BIOS. It'll start downloading it.
Okay.
Updating it, so
I want to point out Hellraiser says here's the headline: the murder weapon was feces tainted generic cola
no,
beverage.
not Coca-Cola.
No, he said generic cola
tainted.
beverage.
Generic
Cola Brown. Oh, the
Yeah,
cola.
generic cola beverage.
What's one they don't make anymore? They still make RC Cola?
Yes,
Ooh.
I've drinking
So-
RC Cola in the past.
That's
6
some bad.
months.
I tell you one thing.
What?
I will take it. I will
It's
take.
generic. Yeah, it's cola.
Like
It's
in
just
the-
a generic cola.
Oh boy, in the cola hierarchy, like RC Cola is down there.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it up there.
That's the
that's
sad thing is
Damn sure.
it's Royal Canadian Cola.
Is it?
I think so. I think
No,
it
I
stands
thought, but I thought it was like a KFC thing where they rebranded. It's not Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's KFC.
No, I think it's Royal Canadian. I would just have to say, do better, Canada, because like really, like, do you think when you go visit the
Calling out Canada.
when the
here.
king comes to visit now, like, here's your RC Cola.
Oh man,
What is this? Give me a Coca-Cola, not
I
this
remember
stuff.
Mr. Pibb.
Gordon, most of our super chats are from Canadian dollars.
Yeah,
so
they are.
Don't
Watch
piss off
out,
the Canadians.
Man. Wow.
Even
They're gonna get their
Canadians know
lawyers
this.
after
I
us,
know.
Gordon.
Canadians know. See, I can comment on the taste of RC Cola, and I definitely do not appreciate the taste of RC Cola.
Oh, and Bob Jones says Linus is going to call up Gordon after this. Yep, look at that.
I lost a bit from his screwdriver, man. I was like, oh, no problem. I'll go buy it because they're only $5. Someone needs to point out this. Like, it's like the $6 bit replacement bit kit. It's like, oh, I'll just buy this other one, get it. I was like, wait, the shipping is like $8 or something.
Oh,
was like-
if you want to replace one bit, you have to pay $8 shipping.
Well, no, I was going to buy the set.
Oh, it's a set.
Because the original set has got these stupid Robson bits. What the hell? Who cares? I was going to buy a couple of them. Well, I was going to buy one just to replace the one I lost. And then I was like, what? It was like $20. It got really ridiculous. Like, what? Do they not have a functioning mail system in Canada? Is it the Royal
Man.
Canadian mail system?
Gordon calling out Linus here. He's a Canadian
Well,
and he overcharges for shipping.
I love the
Hey, not that our
LTT
shipping
screwdriver.
is great,
But I had this problem where I was putting into the bit holder and I was holding it by the handle and the whole thing rotated. So then it slipped out and fell on the garage floor. Like, I swear to God, they need to have this Olympics thing where you drop a screw on the ground from a certain height. And then the one that gets it to go the furthest and hardest to get or ever lost forever, that's the winner. Because where the hell did they go? I was like, where did it go? Like it's like sometimes it'll like go down the street. Like you'll be walking down the street going to your car. Like how did it? Like it unlocked the door, went out, shut the door, locked the deadbolt, walked down the street, down the sidewalk, and it gets there. That's what's up with that.
It's the next Pixar film. Lost Screw.
Lost, yeah.
Bits.
Right? Do you ever do that? Like you drop it right here. You could be like, you could be in an airplane hangar. There could be nothing. You could drop that screw. It'd be like, where did it go? Like out on the tarmac somehow.
Or like I've had it before where it like got in the groove of my shoe. I looked everywhere and I was like, what the hell? And I stepped on it and it was like stuck in my shoe.
Yeah.
It's trying to just go back to Linus. Trying to go back to Canada.
Yeah. See, the conspiracy theory is, so I was like, I'm going to buy this one kit that was like $6. I was like, wait a minute. The shipping was like, whatever, $10 or something. It was like crazy. And I was like, wait a minute. Well, then maybe if I buy 2 of them, but they didn't have the one I wanted. It's like, what if I buy 3 of them? I was like, whoa. Whoa.
Hey, the
That's
more
a
you buy, the
conspiracy
more you
theory.
save, according to Linus.
Well, because
I
it
guess.
wouldn't feel as bad if I got 3 sets of bits that are all unique.
Well, it
right?
would feel bad paying that much, but
Well, but then the shipping is not as painful. But
Yeah.
like the
Well, but if you
shipping
didn't
is
need it.
like it's some kind of eBay shipping there. Like, oh yeah, it's like $5 for this U shirt, but the shipping is $15.
Anyway, yes. Anyway, shipping is insane. You're right, Jesse. Okay, we should move on to Q&A before we explode out of confusion here. If you're watching this at PC World in the chat, it's easier for us to see it. If you're listening or watching this later, there's a link to our Discord server on the in the description. Go over there. There is a channel called Full Nerd Questions. You can drop it in there. There's some good questions. Let's get to one of them. I want to get to first is friend of the show, Master Procrastinator. My Corsair RAM, which is a kit of 2x16 at 3,200 mega transfers per second, doesn't work on my Gigabyte board, which is the X570, with my AMD CPU, which is a 3900X. It's on the qualified vendors list for the board. AMD said that DDR4 3200 is supported. Corsair sold it to me with those speeds. It doesn't work. Who should I be outraged at?
Sorry, I was zoned out thinking about Robertson bits. Can you just read the first part of that?
They have a AM4 board, a 3900X. They bought a Corsair RAM kit at 3200 mega transfers per second. It was sold that. It's on the QVL list.
Qualified vendor
Yeah,
list.
yeah. But it doesn't work. Who should they be outraged at? Did they get bad silicon lottery? Should they be outraged at AMD? Should they're outraged at Corsair? Should they be outraged at the Gigabyte motherboard?
So if you got your motherboard, it's a Gigabyte board. The QVL list, which everybody owes, is it they consider to be the last word on everything always working. It doesn't really guarantee that, because so what's happened is
Wait. So the QVL list isn't guaranteed.
it is what they have guaranteed is with this CPU in this motherboard, probably with this BIOS, with this module kit, you can get this to post and run at 3200.
Mm-hmm.
Note that I said this CPU, right? So there's things that, so the CPU, and again, this brings up very much like Wendell has brought up to counter every single Intel superfan saying, oh, well, I can run my 1300K at 8,000 all day, no problem. And there are many, many documented cases of 1300Ks not running at very high clocks or low latency. Of course, a lot of people are like, well, that's different. That's overclocking. We're talking a QVL list. Shouldn't this work? And no, there's still lottery to it, right? And clearly this kind of plays into what we're seeing a little bit with this AMD stuff. And I don't know what the hell's going on, but it's not guaranteed. And that's actually interesting because you would assume on the QVL, but
the QVL is tested with, you're saying it's tested with a specific CPU and a specific like BIOS version.
it means, yeah. I mean, or maybe they do enough of them. So everything is still lottery. And again, there are 3200 kits that are actually JEDEC speed. But I'm guessing this one is not. So honestly, I bet if you swap your processor to a 5800X3D, then it might work. So if it works with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
And
annoying.
also- yeah, it's
That's damn
annoying.
annoying.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that's kind of one of the things I've kind of realized is everybody takes QVL to be like, oh, I'm safe. Yeah, probably. You're definitely more safe than just kind of like selecting lowest price DIMM on Newegg and
Yeah.
buying that. But it doesn't guarantee it's going to work.
Yeah. All right. So that's a bummer. Sorry to hear that, Master Procrastinator. I would be upset. All right. Taboo, friend of the show, Taboo, is practically everyone in the industry trying to pass us for idiots by blatant advertising features and performance figures using features which, according to them, will void your warranty.
Yep.
Is it at this point even still ethical and justifiable to review hardware with features that void the warranty enabled?
Yeah, I think I know, because everybody wants to do the hard correction, like, oh, well, now we're going to punish you by running everything stock. I think that's you're everybody. If you're buying high performance hardware, you're going to at least probably run it in the high performance modes. I mean,
I would say even not high end hardware, people are trying to get the most out of their systems.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the real disconnect here is we've all gotten so damn complacent with module speeds that we assume everything works. Again, like his friend, there was like a 3,000 part in a Gigabyte board that would not run 3200 off the QVL list. We've gotten so complacent to assuming everything works and it is perfectly safe that we just think it's going to work, and there is some risk. And I think, whatever the hell's going on, hopefully we won't remember this in 3 months. But I think you're going to run it in high performance mode. I mean, maybe the argument, like, again, I pointed out when I originally did the Ryzen 1000 series, I ran the machines fully loaded. So basically KB Lake on 1800X, I ran over 4 DIMMs. And that, of course, limited the memory speeds because fully loaded, you're not going to run at high speeds. That was pretty valid. But a lot of people then were screaming, you need to run these parts at higher clocks on the memory because blah 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 blah.
Or higher speed with 2 DIMMs.
Right. I mean, but what's more realistic? Somebody's going to buy max out 4 DIMMs, or they're going to run higher clocks. I don't know. All things are right. So
I mean that's why I would say. I mean that's why there's a lot of people who get angry, like, why didn't you test this? Why aren't all the reviewers testing in the same exact way? I actually think it's a bonus that reviewers test in all kinds of different ways, because then you get to see, oh, okay, well, here's where it breaks down over there. Here's where this configuration, and like, I think more testing configuration is better than everyone doing the same exact configuration.
Yeah, and how does that benefit everybody to be using exact same, like, what, should we all use the exact same boards with, I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous because you were reviewing a CPU or GPU for a place that's going to be using infinite capabilities, infinite combinations. It makes more sense to sort of see, Hub is doing this, Steve is doing this, GN, and, like, everybody's doing, Paul's doing this. There's all different ways that you're doing it, and I think it's just better to have that diversity of views than having, like, and then also remember, not every CPU, like, look at that, who did it recently?
DeBauer
did this, like,
I believe it was DeBauer did a super interesting video where he literally bought like a dozen of the same exact model, and the performance scores were all over the place. I mean, not like huge, but like big enough you'd be like, oh my God, wow. Like, you could really get luck of the draw on a part. So even, like that's the thing, is that, like, I think having one empirical review doesn't make sense for a lot of reasons, because sometimes it's literally just luck of the draw of like Silicon Lottery, and like, which sucks. But at the same time, that's just what happens. And that can be CPU, that can be motherboard, that can be RAM, that can be GPU. It's kind of everything, right?
Yeah, and then maybe the problem is
power supply.
I mean, maybe part of the problem is everybody is looking at it at 11, setting it to 11. Maybe there is something to be said for,
right?
Well, I think everybody, like, I run everything at, decent. I mean, 6,000, but maybe.
Well, but 6,000 is technically overclocking your AMD, even though it's stable for Intel.
Mostly stable for Intel,
right?
And I would say, even then it's like, and then how fair is that to Intel, where I'm artificially limiting the Intel platform to 6,000 because the AMD platform is probably not going to be running up at 7,000 and up. How fair is that to Intel, right? It really gets extremely messy. So I don't know what the easy answer is, but
I mean, like, and we hear this all the time. Well, why didn't you do this testing? Why didn't you do this testing? I mean, yes, more testing would be awesome, but it's also like, how much time do we have? How many benchmarks do you actually want to do in your life? You've already done a lot of benchmarks. So.
Yeah, I know. I do also. I have an update from someone.
Oh,
I do want to point out that it's been pointed out to me that ASUS did have, and I don't know if this makes a difference or not, ASUS did actually have a non-beta BIOS with the updated AGESA that is within specification without basically so basically the non-beta version had the corrected update,
mm-hmm.
and it didn't say it would violate your warranty. So if you installed the non-beta one,
mm-hmm.
that would have done it. And then there were newer ones that were issued, right? So,
okay.
Just want to make sure that's
want to point that out,
and that is fair. That is fair. I mean, I think again that maybe the problem there is people go like, when I go and look at a motherboard, I always you only sort and you look at the newest one, right? You don't even look at the older ones, so you always pick the latest BIOS, even if it's a beta BIOS, right?
No, I mean,
really?
Not for my production box. I mean, Earth Tar says safest place to be is JEDEC profiles for work. If it's like we hear this from Puget Systems, like Falcon Northwest, like, because they like people who rely on doing work on a system. I don't run bleeding edge beta BIOS and things like that. I can do a modest overclock on maybe something like RAM, but I mean, most of the time I'm like undervolting or something. So like I actually, if it comes down to work, I don't do the beta BIOS.
Really? Wow.
I'd rather have things stable. I mean, we talk about this all the time. I'd rather have things stable when it comes to work because the downtime is not worth whatever I'm trying to get out of that little extra.
Right.
It's not worth the downtime.
I wonder if that's something that needs to be recalibrated too. And it is calibration because I think we've gotten so complacent to think they wouldn't give us these options if it were unstable or unsafe, right? So to me, I always update to the beta BIOS because I know sometimes that you have the beta BIOS with whatever latest security exploit or whatever errata fix that's in there, and I want to run it because I want the latest security or errata fix in there. And I know it might be weeks or months before you make that BIOS makes it all the way through QA, right? So I don't really want to sit for 3 months waiting for the final BIOS. And then the really crappy thing is when you're on the newest motherboard with the newest chipset, you get first class service. When you have a 3-year-old motherboard or 4-year-old motherboard, you are getting that, okay, you are on boarding level B, right? So you get on the plane last, and you sometimes only get the beta BIOS, and it may be months and months and months before you ever get the final BIOS. So that's why I always kind of go for it. But again, that's sort of like I'm calibrated to think, oh, it must be pretty safe, and I don't want to wait. But maybe we can't really think that. Maybe we shouldn't be thinking that. I mean, this is, this incident's kind of clearly taught us that maybe that's not the way to go anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I do, Gordon. We got a super chat. I want you to read this. Let's see. I'm going to make it real big for you so you can read. We got a special super chat if you could read that.
I don't have a question. My students and I
say who's it from?
Oh, Joe Frusky. Am I getting that right?
Frusky. Yeah. Joseph Frusky.
Maybe it's hey, Joe Frusky. Maybe that's like gave us $9.99 American.
Thank you.
I don't have a question. My students and I love the show and want to give you all my money.
Thank you. You don't have to.
I see.
You don't have to.
Please give a shout out to Staten Island Technical High School. I got it right. Hey, it's Joe Frusky.
Hey, Staten Island Technical High School.
Oh man,
wait,
know
SITHS. It's almost close to shits.
No.
Sorry.
No, it is not.
Oh man, come on.
I'm sorry.
Technical
Come on.
High School. Thank you so much.
Let me give you a shout out.
Sith, like Star Wars. SITHS.
Oh, the Sith.
Yeah, they're the Sith. They're the bad guys.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. But let me tell you, I love Staten Island.
Technical High School.
So we visited Staten Island, I guess it was 2017, 2018. Well, we didn't. Well, I mean, sorry, Staten Island. We visited New York, and then we stayed in the Forgotten Borough, which is Staten Island, because that was the cheapest place to stay. But it was awesome because, you'd hang out in Manhattan, and that Staten Island ferry. It just really taught me what a complete. I'm going to say this because even though it risks our Disney sponsorship, what a complete shit show public transportation in the Bay Area is. It's such a disaster, absolute disaster. Because we would hang out in Manhattan. It was just wonderful all day, and then we would go down to the tip, and then we go to the. So you go to the ferry station. So you go there, and then so for people who don't know that New York, let me tell you this, and I'm going to say this, even though I am from Oakland, New York is our greatest city. You go down there to the ferry station. You could be it didn't matter. Every 30 minutes, 24 hours a day, this ferry that was as big as this building would pull up, lower that ramp. Everybody would get on. You would get on that ferry. You would go across. You get to Staten Island, and you'd go to your affordable. It was great. The host we stayed at was great. And then you would it was just amazing. That Staten Island ferry was amazing. And it was free. It cost $0. $0, 24 hours a day. And that thing was 30 minutes. That
On
ramp
time.
was that ramp was 30 minutes. And then even better, you get there. It's 2:00 in the morning, get to that ferry station. And it's man, I'm hungry. And but they had the food places that would be open. And they just have the place that would sell a slice of New York pizza for $1, $1.50, $2 or whatever it was.
Uh-huh.
It's still better than all the pizza in this lousy city of San Francisco.
Yeah, probably.
And it's at the Staten Island ferry at 2:00 in the morning. So yeah, Staten Island, we could learn some lessons from you.
Yeah.
So that's what I have to say to Staten Island.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Joseph.
Thank you
You don't
again.
have to give us all your money. It is fun though. I'm curious. Listen, it sounds like they're a teacher over there or something
Yeah,
like that.
I'm also curious that they have,
Well,
like,
what do you teach? I want to know.
Oh wait, I used harsh language there earlier.
I did too,
I
yeah.
forgot.
Are you putting on the full nerd right now in class, like for your students to watch us?
They're like, oh, this is computer session hour. Let's just watch the full nerd.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I'll take it. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So thank you. Anyway,
Thank
a couple more questions and we can get out of here. I have. Kojamo83, new to our Discord, says, I have an upgrade question. You ready? They want to upgrade. They have a 9900K. Okay. They have a RTX 3080, and they have 32 gigs of RAM. That's all they said. They play games at 1440p, 170 hertz. Huh? I haven't heard 170 hertz. Anyway, so 1440p on a 9900K with a 3080. Okay. I usually upgrade one major component about every two years, so a CPU, a GPU, whatever. What would you do next in their system with a 900K RTX 3080, 32 gigs of RAM? Would you go GPU at this point, or would you go CPU and motherboard? That they want to get into resizable bar, Gen 5 drive, storage, DDR5. Further in, because there was a little side discussion about it, they pretty much only use it for gaming. Okay, they're not feeling anything. They're running everything just fine. He's getting that itch, and I totally get it. You just get that itch, like, ooh, I got to upgrade. So, what would you upgrade first? Would you upgrade GPU? Would you upgrade
And it's a
CPU platform?
1440 what refresh?
High refresh rate. They say 170 hertz. So, and they saying right now everything's running fine, for the most part.
Huh. Boy, that's a tough one. That's really like you could really argue if it's fine, then, honestly, the SSD prices are insane right now. I keep buying them even though I don't need them. So you could argue
I can
you
confirm.
move to and I've always wished I had an 8 terabyte SSD or 4 terabyte SSD or really, really fast, high performance, even though 900K, there was no Gen 4, right? I can't remember. There was no Gen 4.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You could, but you sort of have something for later on. I could say you could just not move. It's a real wobbler for me, because I actually think when you're looking at 1440p at 165 hertz, 4080 would be nice, but the 9900K is a little,
Right, you're
a little
probably
bit
bottleneck there.
a little bit.
I think that the thing in the discussion was, okay, if they upgrade the GPU, yeah, they could definitely do that, but they'll probably get a little bit of a bottleneck, and they're not getting some of the other nice things around the edges, like resizable bar and things like that. But if they upgrade the CPU and platform stuff, you're probably not going to get much right now.
Right.
It's more like do you upgrade for the future to take a newer GPU, or do you upgrade the GPU to get a little bit of performance bump now?
Yeah.
I would upgrade the CPU and the platform, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on which way you want to go. Intel, you're probably at the end of the line with that socket.
Oh yeah, you are.
So I would almost kind of want to wait for Meteor Lake just to kind of see what's going on there. But AMD, you're at the beginning of AM5. You could potentially.
Well, last
upgrade
question is
there.
what kind of game? Because if we're talking about like Cyberpunk,
He said AAA games.
AAA games.
So he's
Oh.
pushing it. He's pushing the edge.
Well, honestly, I would say GPU then. So if you're
You
playing,
think so?
if you want to play the newest games, yeah, you're going to give up some performance, but your accessibility to all the new goodness that they're throwing into only their new cores, then you're going to get that out of a newer
Even
thing.
knowing you're not
Or
getting the
an
full
AMD.
benefit of
Yeah.
the GPU.
I would. I mean, the crappy thing is a 3080 is such a good card still that, I mean, if you could unload it at a reasonable price to a friend that you honestly like, gosh, I got this friend and they don't have a lot of budget and they would get this huge step up, to defray some of your costs, then I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah.
I just honestly, I wouldn't.
I would go CPU. Personally, I would go CPU.
I would wait because I mean, it's only
900K is not bad.
It's not bad. It would definitely, it's always going to be better. But I mean, you're kind of like, is that new GPU going to like give you 30% more performance, 40% more performance? Where there are some games where a new high-end GPU will indeed give you 40%
But the thing
more
is,
performance.
for me, the crux of the situation, they're saying they're not running into any problems right now. They're happy where they're at. So that's why, like, I think, like, okay, if you're happy where you're at, and you just, because here's the other thing, they don't want to upgrade everything. It's not like, oh, well, wait for next time to upgrade everything, because they kind of want to dole it out, right? I would say if you're happy where you're at, then you don't need that new GPU. You know, like just work on the foundation. If you're happy with where you're at, work on that foundation so that next time you do get the GPU, it's going to be even that much better.
Yeah, but then
Because if you have the 4080 and say you decide to upgrade the CPU later, like, you're still not going to get that huge of a benefit out of it.
you mean, well, I would think I guess we should try that, but 900K with a 4080 class range GPU is, I think it'll still, especially when you're talking about AAA games.
I mean, they're supposedly they're already hitting that with AAA games now, though. So it's
What do you mean?
not.
You mean like if they're perfect?
Yeah,
Again,
they're saying right now they're perfectly happy. They just have that itch. They just have that itch.
yeah. So then,
I mean, the other option is to forego that and get better audio.
yeah, nobody's
invest
going
in
to do
better
that.
audio.
So buy more storage. You could also buy.
Yeah, but it's Gen 3.
What?
Why would you buy more Gen 3 storage?
No, you buy Gen 4 and just basically run in Gen 3 mode
okay.
when you move it later. Because sometimes I regret buying Gen 3 drives, and it just feels like I should have bought Gen 4 and just run it at a lower PCIe. But the thing is, like, maybe buy other stuff. Maybe there's some like cool RGB lighting you want to do in your like those leafs, those nano leafs. Those cost as much as a GPU, for God's sake, once you get enough of them.
Mm-hmm.
You could do desk. There's just definitely, if you're happy with it, then why not put money into other stuff like a gaming chair or a nice microphone if that's your kind of thing, or better headphones.
Steam Deck.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, because I mean, to me, you could wait. I mean, that's one thing that's nice is waiting. If you're actually fine with the CPU and GPU, then waiting doesn't generally cost you anything unless you wait yourself into the next shortage of GPUs where you're like, I can't get a GPU.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. Okay. Anyway, good chat. Oh yeah, Steam Deck for the toilet. There you go. Anyway.
Remember that conversation we had about stuff flying around when you're
Oh yeah, right in your Coke.
Joseph Foreski gave us another super chat, $4.99. Thank you so much again. I teach cloud computing, ethical hacking, and penetration testing.
Oh wow!
Pen tester, yeah.
And yes, the show is running in class as we run Nmap, which is the network map. Network mapper.
Oh, that's fun. That's
Thank
awesome.
you so much. Thank you, Joseph.
Yeah, I've had my buddy on the show. What was it for the Windows 11? Mike Dansiglio. He's a certified ethical hacker and a white hat, and yeah, I loved hearing about all his stuff. So that's awesome. We need more people in the security realm.
And New York pizza too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess Staten Island is the cloud.
They
computing.
get so angry here. The San Franciscans, the people from Frisco, they get really angry, and I point out our pizza is just like pathetic.
Yeah, well, I feel like California people like that thin crust, like I'm just not a flatbread thin crust. Oh, you know what? I found out that there's a place that does Detroit style in Oakland. Have you heard of this?
Does it have shell casings in it? I don't want. Or is it like
you don't know Detroit
they
style
light
pizza?
the house on fire and there's shell casings on it? Sorry, Detroit.
We should bring it on.
Yeah, we've talked about it. Yeah, we should get it. I want to get it. It's a place in Oakland. Lindsay had it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
what is? I just don't know what Detroit pizza's like.
So it's so imagine like a birthday cake, right? Where you've got the cake, right, and then you got icing on top, right?
You mean thick crust?
Oh no, this is thicker. This is like literally like cake, like thick cake that's all crust, and then you've got the toppings on the top that's like icing of a cake. So that's how I describe it. Is it like Chicago deep dish? Psst, that ain't deep enough. Detroit has the deepest.
Detroit.
Like it is thick. Do you want
Okay.
crust with
All
a little bit of stuff on top? That's Detroit style. It's actually really good. I like it. I haven't tried this place. I've had other Detroit stuff. So
All right. I got to try it.
yeah. So anyway, yeah. Okay. And a couple more real quick. VC Jester gave us a super chat last show. Thank you so much. Said they wanted to argue with Elena. Oh, Elena's not here. Sorry.
Well, I could take it.
But they're making a joke about we were talking about the GPUs and how people get on our Discord server and asking for opinions, right? What GPU to buy? Discord, people on Discord. What are you going to do with it? Them explains. Discord debates for 2 hours. Buy a 4060. them, adds the cheapest 4060 to their cart. It's just how it always goes. You know,
Oh,
just
I
like, whatever. Anyway. And then here we go. It's yeah, we're gonna end on a downer note. Are you ready? We're gonna end on a downer note. Friend of the show, Liquid R, has a morbid question.
Oh,
Do you think people should be allowed to pass their games/media catalog onto their family or friend upon passing? So your Steam library, your Amazon Music, subscription.
Yeah.
You know,
no, I mean, it is property. I don't know if the EULAs
it
prevent
doesn't.
you from.
I don't think it does.
I don't know, because I was running Dirt 5 for benchmark the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever run Dirt 5 for benchmarking?
I don't think so.
Well, because Euro's installing it, but like there's a portion of the game where you hit the down button and you're scrolling through the EULA, and it scrolls for like a minute and a half. You're like,
So,
what?
yeah, some games do that. Ugh.
I mean, and again, that's your lawyers. That's your lawyers there. And again, I don't want to bag on lawyers too badly, because the thing about lawyers is when you need one, you want a really good one. So that's.
But you just burned all of your trust with them. So
No, because I mean, they understand. They're professionals.
So Echo Light, and I did see your comment. Good to see it. It sounds like it's been a while. Purchases, yes. Subscriptions, no. I could see that. Your Netflix subscription, nah. But if you have legit purchases, whether it's audio, video, games, yeah, that would be. I think you pass that on, even though it's digital.
You just have to plan it ahead of time, but passwords and all that.
Yeah, but it's different, because you can't, like, sure, if I died and I left my passwords, to my Steam account, yeah, somebody could use it, but that's different than saying, oh, hey, I died, transfer ownership of the games I own to somebody else, like my, next of kin, their account. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, I don't think they have that facility built in, but it is something you would hope that, what'll happen is it'll come up. Somebody will have thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
They'll lose it, and then it'll turn into, well, we don't have any convention to do that. And then somebody will write about it because they posted it on Reddit or Twitter. And then it gets bubbled up, and then it's like, oh, there's bad press now. Okay, that's actually a nice thing to do, and that's the way the world unfortunately works.
Mark Tackman says the Digital Death Act of 2023. Oh.
Can you pass on? I don't know if you can pass on digital property, because the other thing is, it's not your property. You're renting it, essentially.
I know you can get access to accounts. Like, I think the Facebook, there's a way to access somebody's account. After
you can set that up
things
ahead
like
of time.
that, but like it's not.
But that's not actually.
That's not a purchase.
The way they won is you don't really own it. So that is kind of the bummer thing about the world today. So I would think, though, for Valve, they'd probably be, oh yeah, sure, we can pass it on to you, because that's just kind of how they roll, I think. But it'd probably never come up.
Yeah, well, I think that's the other problem, is that, I mean, so much of our consumption is subscription based now. Movies and, I mean, music for damn sure. I don't remember. I mean, other than vinyl, I guess I buy a lot of vinyl, but like digital stuff, I don't really buy digital albums anymore.
Really?
No, I've got streaming services.
I actually have gotten to the point where I'll buy them from Amazon, because you can just download the MP3s.
Buy it through Amazon Music.
Yeah, if I buy some songs, I buy, because I'm not really into paying every month for streaming.
You know what?
I pay for Sirius, but
I guess that's not true. I do occasionally buy stuff on Bandcamp if there's like something very indie that I want to download. So yeah.
Oh, I forgot about Bandcamp. Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no, it's like
now.
indie music distribution. Usually
Yeah,
it's
they're good.
what was it was like, oh man, it must have been like I think it was a lo-fi Zelda remix.
Ooh.
So it was like, oh no, it was a D-Master. So it was like Ocarina of Time D-Master. So do you know what a D-Master is, Gordon? So Ocarina of Time was like orchestrated, but then they D-master it so it sounds like it was 8-bit on the NES. So it's like I had a couple of really good video game soundtracks. One of them is from Halo. It's a D-Master. That's one of my favorite ones. So it was a D-Master, and then it was a lo-fi version.
Can we just not make up words for this stuff? Can we just not? Yeah, so what is that? Oh, well, we took the Beatles album, we made it sound like it was in 8-bit. Oh, okay, that's cool.
No, that is actually cool. No, Dark Side of the Moon. There's a
I've heard
made
one
an
sounds
8-bit,
like an 8-bit
Dark
version
Side of
of
the
it?
Moon. It's actually pretty good.
No, it's a D-Master, Adam. Why you got to say that? Like, why?
It's a D-Master. I don't know.
Like retcon. Like people are like that. Like Steve, he used that word, and it reminded me that Steve was younger. because I remember hearing that first time I heard it from Norm Chan. I was like, what the F are you talking about? What the hell does that mean? Well, this happened in Star Wars, but then they basically retroactively made it what? Retroactively made it canon or something ridiculous like that?
Like retcon?
Yeah, what the hell is that? That's like not a real word. Like you're talking about a made-up movie, made-up history by a bunch of people arguing about made-up stuff, and you're going to make up a real word to describe it as though it's real?
Yeah, but the first time I remember thinking about that was Star Wars, right? Where when they did the updated Star Wars versions.
when they retconned whatever Han
Han shooting
shooting
first or
I
like
mean, that's how they use it, but I just don't understand why.
No, I'm saying blame George Lucas for this.
No, but he didn't make up retcon.
I don't think he made it up,
but
but that's the first time I remember oh, hey, you know what? You remember what you remember here in the past? No, that's not right. This is how it actually happened.
You've heard my George Lucas theory.
He's the AI.
No, so this is the theory. Sorry, internet. We're just gonna roll this a little longer.
We'll warm it up here.
So it was.
Oh no. Sorry, Norman Chan from Tested used to work at with Gordon. So that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, PC Gamer. Norm the intern. Really, really great guy. So this is like 15, 20 years ago. I don't know what it is. It's like, because clearly I'm like the most stable person in the world. Because I came up with this before anybody started. Because I love good conspiracy theories, folks. If you can't tell, but they got to be really good. Good conspiracy theory. Now, good conspiracy theories like this. People don't know this. But George Lucas actually died while they were shooting Revenge of the Jedi. They were up in the Redwood Forest. Wow. There was an accident, industrial accident, got crushed by one of those lights. But at that point, Fox said, look, this is billions of dollars. Your contract, you are so valuable to this franchise. If you pass, we get to pretend that you're still alive because we're afraid if you go, we're going to lose billions of dollars. So if you pass away,
same thing happened.
So basically, they're up there, they're shooting the Revenge of the Jedi scenes. He gets killed. They're like, oh my God, we have to implement whatever that. What is it?
Return of the Jedi. You talking about?
No, Revenge of the Jedi. Yeah, Revenge of the Jedi. That's what it was called. And then once Lucas changed his mind, they're like, oh no, Jedis, they can't use revenge. What are you talking about? Like they cut people's arms off all day. I mean, like what, you're gonna get nice suddenly? So Lucas is gone. They change it to Return of the Jedi, and then some other executive, because where else would this come from? Says, you know what? We really need some better toy tie-ins to this. Like we're making billions off the X-wings and the TIE fighters. No, we need something better. We need like how about like a stuffed animal? Well, how do we get that into this movie? Well, we have these characters. They're called Ewoks. Oh, you mean like a bear, something scary, like a Wookiee, like rip your arm from our.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna do like something cute we can sell at Toys R Us, right? Because no, you don't want to have. So now you get the Ewoks. You get like, wouldn't it be cool if we crashed a Super Star Destroyer into the Death Star? Well, how would that happen? Well, it's easy because the only thing you have to do to wipe out all the defenses of a Star Destroyer is crash into its shield generator. That seems kind of dumb, don't you think? I mean, why wouldn't the Rebels have done that since the beginning? Like all these things that make zero sense because Lucas is gone, but his replicant is basically they've had a body double acting as him all this time. I'm gonna tell you a true story.
Or maybe he just likes money.
Now I know you're going, he's lying right now, but this is a true story here. So I'm talking to somebody. This person worked at whatever Lucasfilm, whatever it is. I told this person my theory, and they relayed this story to me.
And then they went on off the record.
No, they relayed the story because this is a beer talk. So there's not even it's the zone. Person goes like, you know, this person actually got into a meeting, or this person knows somebody, so it's hearsay. So it's not, but they know somebody who went into a meeting with Lucas, and they were briefing him about this some Star Wars thing or whatever. He didn't remember any of it. Like, because, clearly Star Wars nerds are like, oh, and then, blah, blah, blah. Only by 2/3 vote of the Senate can they override this in the Imperial Senate. Like, and like, he just like they said, it's like he didn't even know. And they were kind of like, oh, he doesn't remember this. I would, they just assumed that Lucas would remember every single thing about Star Wars, but he didn't know about this one thing. And they were kind of confused, but I don't know, that kind of.
So it's like a Men in Black kind of thing where they wiped his memory? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is it lines up with my conspiracy theory.
But he actually wasn't there.
Revenge of the Jedi, that was the body double. Because you think the body double's trying to like read Wikipedia to remember every simple ridiculous Star Wars nerd fan thing?
Definitely.
No, they're not. They're just like, I don't know. Like, I just want to get out of here and get this suit off, right?
I'd give this conspiracy theory like a good C-.
No,
it's
come
not
on.
bad. It's fine.
That is a really
It's
good
fine.
conspiracy theory because one, it sounds crazy. It makes no sense.
It doesn't sound.
And
that
also
crazy.
the reason why it's such a good conspiracy theory, it means it's meaningless. It has zero, and it explains the Ewoks.
Sorry, C-.
I need to give you, Elena, and Brad a scorecard next time for whenever
Yeah, like
Gordon puts
yeah,
up
put
a
up,
conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
A, B, C.
Yeah, okay, that's not bad.
All right.
Anyway, we should get out of here. I do have there's a super chat that I need to reference from friend of the show, VC Jester. I don't remember the super chat. Did you see
I
it?
got
Came
it. So
in today?
$2 super chat from VC
Oh,
Gesture.
okay.
Thank you so much. According to the internet, Gordon's nickname is actually Gung.
Oh yeah. So we were joking on Discord about because we have an AI channel in there, and I posted I asked ChatGPT who is Adam Patrick Murray, and it gave me back some, it was kind of right, kind of wrong, and then somebody posted who is Gordon Maung, and it said, oh man, I probably can't find it quick enough. Let's see. I'm gonna try because this is the best internet. And somebody said, oh, here we go. Gordon Maung, quote, also known as Gung, end quote, is an American technology journalist and executive editor of PC World. So you're also known as Gung, according to ChatGPT.
People would call me that in the office, but I don't really think.
Really? People? Who? What office?
Who calls you?
Not in our office.
No, not in this office. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
okay.
it would be at a former employer. Like, that was like, it was a common.
Yeah. So, okay. So maybe this ChatGPT is run by our friend Will Smith.
I had I don't know, maybe. Huh?
Yeah, I've never heard anybody call you.
The
Gung.
other, I would.
I guess it's true then.
In college, there was a classmate, former special forces, who would call me Ugg. You were like, hey, because he had this gravelly voice, not Clinton, but like, hey, Ugg.
Ugg.
Yeah, Ugg, because he's
Ugg.
he's just insulting me. I don't know what it is, but he's this old guy, he's special forces. You're not gonna f with this guy because he'll like rip your head off.
Anyway, we got to get out of here because I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now
I can go for some Detroit style pizza. Actually,
we should try it. We should try it. Gordon, how deep do you like your dish?
Well, but is it but is it just all flour or is it just stuff like meat?
Yeah, there's like icing on top.
No, so
there is some meat and cheese.
What I'm
and stuff
saying
on
is,
top,
are
but-
you getting 2.5 inches of crust?
Yes.
And then, because like the best deep dish, see, that's, I don't know, that's a ripoff. Like to me, like a real Chicago pizza is like you're getting the crust is thicker, but that's so it can be structurally sound because you're piling on so much sausage and cheese and all the other stuff, right? Because you don't want to pay for flour. You want to pay for the expensive stuff.
So
meat
when I
and
eat
cheese.
pizza with Lindsay will eat the pizza and then leave the crust, and I'm like, "What do you leave it?" And I just immediately eat that. I'm like, "That's the best part."
I eat the crust.
The crust is the best part. So this is literally, hey, do you like crust with a little bit of stuff on
So
top?
you must
Boom.
like California style pizza.
No, I hate California style because it's the opposite. It's that thin, crappy, crunchy crust. So you barely get any crust.
No. That pizza is basically the new kind of like, it's the new style of whatever.
And I know I hate that.
Hipster.
That's the opposite
That's
of what
so
I
like
like.
crust.
I like a lot of crust.
So actual California pizza is probably closer to Blondie's, Berkeley, Escape from New York, and San Francisco. It's basically a big ass thick crust, and then they just like, could you put a little more cheese and tomato sauce on here? But no.
mean, that sounds like Detroit style. I've never had that kind, but
Well, it's not really Detroit style, but it's basically all crust, and it is basically a California's take on New York pizza, which of course it's
New York's
an
not thick
insult
enough
to
for me. Yeah.
Well, it's an insult to New York pizza, but it really is. It really is thick. So you gotta go to Blondie's. I think they've renamed it to Blondie's. It's a classic dive outside UC Berkeley, and then also Escape from New York on in the Haight. It's good pizza. It's just not, and it's not the stuff that hipster pizza now, like
I don't like California.
like
style,
whatever
yeah.
kind of like you like.
Well, see, here's the thing, right? What the classic New York slice is like. You fold it, right? Do you fold your slices of pizza?
Well, you have to because there's no way to hold.
Do you
it
fold?
otherwise.
Are you a
Yes.
folder?
If it's big enough, I'll
Yeah.
fold the pizza.
See, Detroit style, you can't fold. You cannot fold Detroit style. That's thick. You can't just
That
pick up the
doesn't
piece of
sound
pizza.
attractive to me. That just sounds like they're just selling you a bunch of flour.
It's
Yeah.
good, but it's called. It's yeah.
That sounds like a ripoff. See, I will
I
like,
like it.
Zachary's pizza.
I like
We
Zachary's.
have some
Zachary's
good pizza in here,
Zachary's good.
out here in the West Coast. It's just not the same style of pizza.
Yeah.
Zachary's is really good thick crust pizza. Deep dish.
Matt says Detroit style folds you.
It does.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I can see that. Again, sorry, I was making fun of Detroit there. I was like, what do they? Because they have that thing about burning. Was that what the hell they used to do? Halloween, they burn down homes. But
I
it's
have
like
no
a
idea.
Simpsons episode.
Our bong asks, need to know Gordon's opinion on cheese board. Do you like the cheese board?
Pizza?
Yep.
No, that's hipster pizza.
Yeah. See, yeah, of course. What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, that's hipster pizza.
Anyway, we got to eat. I'm so hungry now. Now I want pizza. Get us out of here, Gordon.
Yeah, take us away, Gordon.
Check back next week for your fix of PC talk on the Full Nerd. For audio listeners, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or Stitcher. And if you're on one of those services, please leave a review. Every time you do, someone will agree that New York pizza and the Staten Island Ferry Pizza House pizza is the best in the world.
Well, we didn't get any new reviews this week, so they don't agree, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sorry.
That Staten Island Ferry is just amazing. It's just incredible, though. I have to
That sounds
say.
cool.
We are so lame. We are just so lame
It
here.
is true.
You should go there and get on. It's just like, why are we so lame? Like, you want to take one of these back here. Like, you could just run one of those back and forth in the Bay Area, like, would solve all of the commute problems. But no, we are the lamest people on the planet. So let me just tell you that. Thanks for coming. I'm Gordon Ung with Adam Patrick Murray.
What about
Brad. Brad's gone.
Brad.
He's
Bye,
peaced
guys.
out. He's peaced out.
That's my Brad
already.
voice.
Adam Patrick Murray.
Oh, bye. Thank you. Bye.
And Willis is going to hit the out switch.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Again, another shout out to Staten Island Technical High School for supporting our show. Thank you so much.
The
Be nice.
fifth.
Yes, be nice to your teachers. The fact that they let you watch the stream while you're listening to Gordon's
Yeah.
conspiracy theories and all
Oh,
that.
no.
Yeah. Be nice. Be nice to your teachers. Okay,
I didn't think
everyone.
about that.
Pen testing.
I know, right? All right. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Somebody's going to report us to their parents now.
It's true.
Mom, why didn't you tell me George Lucas is dead? Like, what? Oh, no.